All right, everybody. It is another Tuesday night in the year of our Lord 2025. And you know what that means? It means we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we have the new All Gloves Off Sports Media proudly presenting to you its podcast tag team champions of the world, the Cleat Geek Mike Valentine and my buddy Cheese in his bright orange shirt today. And we are Lights Out Sports Podcast.
Are you ready? 20 seconds start now. Seconds remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
We are live with you. Sorry we're a little bit late. We were doing some stuff along the side. We're getting Cheese all set up here so he can start doing his podcast. Of course, you all know what it's titled, Football with Cheese. He will be doing it right here on the All Gloves Off Sports Network. And we can't wait for him to be on here with us as well as a few other people. You'll be able to see exactly who you can get here at the end of the show. But first, we are going to do some great segments with you. We're going to be with you college football first, then Major League Baseball, and then NFL. We're going to talk all kinds of stuff. Gennady. We're going to talk Lubbock, Texas. We're going to talk the World Series, of course, the Anaheim Angels, and what in the world are they doing? And then we're going to look at a little bit from the Arizona Fall League. Then we're going to get into NFL. We're going to talk about just how close a lot of these teams are right now. Is that a good or a bad thing? And will it change the playoffs? We'll talk about all of that and much, much more right here on the Lights Out Sport Podcast. Cheese, my buddy.
Yes.
How are you doing?
I am well. There's a lot going on. We got World Series coming up. Everything's pretty much happening in the NFL. There's every game there was something to talk about. And we already have a comment. Looks like
have three.
People are already commenting.
Whew.
Let's do it.
Yeah, 4. Look out. And a smiley face. Isn't that nice? Kind of looks like you. Except for the, smile part.
Yeah, I'd be the grumpy guy. Right? The grumpy emoji is me. Because, I can get grumpy.
Well, you can.
Times. Yeah.
You've been a little grumpy on the other podcast there, Football with Cheese. You've been kind of ripping your team, the Green Bay Packers, a little bit, especially when it comes to one head coach over there.
I don't want to talk about it.
Because you don't want to be grumpy?
I want to be grumpy. I want to be positive. I want to be positive. Let's be positive. It's going to be a fun show. So much college football, NFL going on, and of course the World Series. So yes, positivity.
I like it. I like positivity. But first, wait a minute. I think somebody knows. Look at this. All kinds of stuff. Yeah.
I wish he had spelled it right. I love the effort. I love the effort and the sentiment, though.
All right. Well, I thought he was talking about the 5 flaming 5 and 5. That's what I thought he was talking about, because we're going to put you, sir, under the flames. For those of you who are first timers, let's explain what's about to happen. 5 minutes on a clock with some flames on it. Cheese gets 5 questions, and if he answers all 5 of them correctly, which of course I hope he does, because I don't want to see him burst into flames, even though that would be great podcast television,
Mhm.
we'll get to talk about that fifth question a little bit more. So, Cheese.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
No, but
You
go ahead.
never are.
No,
But somehow you get it every single week, though. I'm
barely.
really proud of you. You do it every single week. All right. So we're going to start off with the college football. We're going to go to a second college football. We're going to go NFL, Major League Baseball, and then we will conclude with another NFL question. So I'm going to ask you again. Maybe you'll give me a better response this time. Are you ready?
50-50.
50-50. Okay. So the flames will start when I complete the first question. So here we go. Cheese, has Jeremiah Love and Gunnar Stockton put themselves in the Heisman conversation with their Week 8 performances?
Jeremiah Love has to be in the conversation from the beginning. He's just so good. He is by far the best running back prospect in the draft. He can run, he can catch, he runs routes, so he has to be in the conversation.
Okay.
Gunnar Stockton, some people are going to just because Georgia's been doing better and they're ranked 5th, I think, in the country. They're going to talk about whenever a team's top 5, everyone, that quarterback, they're a Heisman candidate. Gunnar Stockton, he's not a Heisman Trophy candidate because he's not one of the best players in the country. It's about the best player in the country, and he is not one of the best players in the country.
All right. Well, that may prove to be not something that you continue with as this moves forward. We'll see. We'll see. Second college football question. Alabama beat 4 SEC top 20 ranked teams in 4 consecutive weeks without a bye. That was Georgia, Vanderbilt, Missouri, and Tennessee. For the first time ever in college football, do you believe that Alabama should be ranked either 1 or 2?
No.
That was
No,
quick.
I don't. No, I mean, some of those games were close, but I mean, they lost to Florida State week 1. I know it's been a while, but how do they lose that game? And when you're doing the rankings, you have to take that into consideration. They lost to a bad team, a team that turns out is a 3-4 team. So
but they just beat 3 really good teams.
They did, but are you saying they should be ahead of Ohio State and Indiana? Absolutely not. It's very impressive, and Ty Simpson's playing outstanding. And they've gotten better, I think, as the season's gone on, but they should not be a top 2 team.
All right. So the first part of this question is pretty simple. Do you believe in karma? We'll ask you that here in a second. And are the Cleveland Browns reaping the karma that they caused themselves by choosing Deshaun Watkins over one Baker Mayfield?
So Andrew Berry is the general manager of the Browns. Someone has to explain to me how he has work. Not only did he get rid of Baker Mayfield, I'll say this, year 3, Baker Mayfield with the Browns, he was amazing. He had a great year. He looked like the next big thing at quarterback. You can argue he didn't have a lot of help around him. Baker Mayfield, he bounced around some other teams as well. It's not just the Browns, but giving up what he did for Deshaun Watson and guaranteeing $250 million has to be the worst decision in NFL history. And they still are terrible. They're still awful. And they have the best defensive player in the game, and they're still have 1 win. And the only reason they have a win is because Green Bay is like, here, you can have one. Here, you can have the win. So Andrew Berry is the problem. I cannot believe he still has work.
All right. I want you to explain something to me. Maybe you can, because I can't get it yet. Maybe you can help me here. Why is Albert Pujols the new hot managerial candidate in MLB?
I have no idea. Hire him to mow my lawn. I literally have nothing else to say because it makes absolutely no sense. He's no experience. He was just a really, really good player until he was about 32, 33, and then he kind of checked out.
All right. So here's the final question. You're going to have like a minute so to get this one.
Okay.
We have been saying that the Jets are the worst and the Titans are 1-6, and everybody's focusing on them because they fired their head coach. But I give you this past week, Geno Smith, 67 total yards, Ashton Gentry, 21 yards. They had 3 total first downs in the entire game. I give you the Las Vegas Raiders. Tell me, am I nuts? Should they be the worst team in the NFL?
Well, thanks, Roger. They did play the Dolphins. Yeah, I've already forgotten about that game because Dolphins-Browns, like, why would anyone pay attention? So the Browns actually have 2 wins, so there you go. The Raiders, they beat the Patriots week 1 in New England. So no one's going to consider them the worst team, but they're in the they're among the bottom 5 teams for sure because they're just so bad at everything. They don't have a talented roster, bad quarterback play, bad offensive line, bad defense, and C.
All right, look at you, buddy. As always, you got it. So, this is a prelude because what we're going to do at the very end of the show, a lot of people call it a top 10 list because we are Lights Out Sports. We're going to call it our Lights Out list. It's the same kind of concept. It's just a little different. And today, we're actually going to do the 10 worst teams in the NFL. And hopefully, not everybody listening is going to have their team pop up on one of our lists of the 10 worst teams in the NFL. We'll close out the show with that. And we'll talk about the Raiders. And we'll talk about the Jets. And I'm sure we'll talk about the Browns and a whole bunch of these other teams. But where will they fall? That'll be the question. And we'll answer that here in just a little bit. The other thing I wanted to throw up here real quick, I skipped past it, but I do want to put it up here. Thank you, JC. We appreciate you reposting the stream. Thank you very much for doing so. All right, guys, bunch of comments. Everything's rocking and rolling already. We love it, and I'll tell you exactly how much we love it because we are now going to jump into our college football spread offense.
There it is.
All right, we'll let that music play in the background for a moment as we jump into college football spread offense. We're going to do a lot of stuff today. We're going to talk about a crazy tradition. We're going to talk about the AP top rankings. Of course, we always have to do that, even though Cheese really doesn't pay any attention to them. I pay a lot of attention to them, and I know some of our fans do as well. We're going to look at college football winners and losers, the game that we are most looking forward to this upcoming week, and then we're going to look at a certain coach that got a certain contract with a certain Big Ten team and dissect that as we go out of our college football spread offense for the day. All right, guys. Hey, more comments? Hang on, let's see. That would be I.O. Yes. All right. Cheese.
Yes.
It's been a tradition at Texas Tech football games that students throw tortillas onto the field just before kickoff.
Yes.
And the Texas Tech athletic director has asked students to stop because the Big 12 has decided to increase repeated fines to $100,000. Now, should we let the kids have their fun? I mean, they're tortillas. They're not hurting anybody. Or do you understand where the Big 12's coming from when trying to stop stuff like this?
I understand where the Big 12's coming from. It's stupid. It just slows the game down. You have to pick it up. Somebody have to hire someone to pick it up. It's just stupid. Put it into it. Big 12 should increase it by 100,000 each time, and that will end it.
Will it though? I mean, what if the university continues to pay for it?
Well, then it won't end, but it's going to keep going up, and eventually they'll have to pay millions. I get tradition. Tradition is one thing, but throwing tortillas on the field, someone has to clean it up, and that's what bothers me. So it just needs to stop. What do you think?
I don't really see the harm in it, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a goofy tradition. If I, if I
Weird.
really have
It's
to,
really weird. Maybe
it is really okay.
HEB.
But do
Maybe
you know
HEB
the
tortillas.
precedent behind it?
Yeah. Well, maybe it helps the HEB, local HEB, because they buy the tortillas from there.
Correct.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about HEB in a long time. We don't have HEBs out here in Arizona, but I have been to Texas a few times, and they're relatively popular there.
They know me by first name. The mile from my home. They know me because I'm in there all the time. I love tortillas too. There's no one who eats more Mexican food for dinner than me. Like I literally eat Mexican for dinner like 5 nights a week.
All right. Well, you're going to have to come out here to Arizona and have a guest spot on the show, like, live right here in the room with me. And you're going to have to cook me some of this great Mexican food. And we'll see how all this does. Now,
I hope you like fajitas.
I do. I love fajitas, actually.
Well,
of course, I mean, there's a reason why you can only see from necklace up. So, it's
not throwing
I
batteries.
love pretty much any food. So
you're not throwing golf balls at Lane Kiffin either,
Right. They're not. It's not like it hurts anybody. I said that in the beginning, and you know what? Maybe our fans don't understand the tradition. So let me explain it to you now. So an ESPN broadcaster once joked that Lubbock, Texas, had nothing but football and tortillas. So the student body ran with it. This was back in 1992, I believe. The student body ran with it and was like, oh, so they want to make fun of us for having, nothing but football and tortillas. We'll show them. And, thus the tradition was born. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I still say it's kind of silly and they should stop it, but it's fun for them, I guess. But, Texas Tech students, it's Lubbock, Texas. If they have a 11 a.m. local start, the students are already probably drunk. So
yeah. Probably so. So what if they say, yes, you guys can continue to do it, but we're just going to have to increase ticket prices so that we pay the $100,000 fine?
So you're punishing the alums that have season tickets? Mm-hmm. No, that's disgusting. I would be livid if I was a season ticket holder. So no, there are some traditions that are pretty cool, but that one is it's silly to me.
So I want to take it a step further here as well. I'm sure you saw one, and we'll probably talk about it before this segment is done, the Texas Tech ASU game in Sun Devil Stadium. Actually, I take that back. It's I should have. Hang on. I'll get the name of the stadium. It used to be called Sun Devil Stadium.
It's in Mesa, Arizona. I know that.
It's in Tempe, Arizona. Actually.
Tempe. Sorry.
Yes, it's Mountain American Stadium. There we go.
Why did I say Mesa? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Mesa.
Okay. Mesa and Tempe. They're all pretty close together, sir.
Well, Mesa, because we're talking about the Arizona Fall League, and that's where the Mesa Solar Stocks are.
Yes, that is. Look at you. Nice. It's
I have some notes on the Arizona Fall League.
Football with cheese in the middle of the segment. Yeah.
I have notes on the Arizona Fall League.
Yes, and we will talk about the Arizona Fall League here in just a few moments, actually. Believe it or not, we're going to talk not only the Arizona Fall League, but we're actually going to talk the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Arizona Fall League.
Why would anyone talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates?
We'll explain it to you.
Okay.
Go Javelinas, right?
But we're not talking about the actual Pittsburgh Pirates, just the prospects, because they always have a good farm system.
They do, but they can never do hitters until now. We'll talk about that here in just a couple minutes. So at the end of the ASU game, after they beat Texas Tech with a backup quarterback, I have to kind of throw that out there and qualify it a little bit, but we stormed the field. And you can see it coming, right? You saw it before, they were all lining up and you just knew they were coming out there. So they also fined the Arizona State Athletic Commission $50,000 for them storming the field, did the Big 12. So do you understand that concept? Or, I mean, should that be something that we're like, man, if you win, if you beat a team like that, you should be able to storm the field. It's their field, right?
The storm the field thing, that happens all the time. It happens every week in some capacity.
Right.
So you shouldn't be finding people for that. It just happens. I mean, if you watch the Florida State Virginia game, The two players involved in the last play of the game, the corner and receiver, disappeared immediately. Like I'd never seen more people rush the field in my life. Like everyone in Scott Stadium was like on the field. There's like 60,000 people on the field, but I don't have a problem rushing the field.
But the Big 12 cited safety concerns. I mean, I can see where the safety concerns would be.
Well, name a person that's been hurt because of that. Like I've never seen like a player or heard a fan like seriously injured because of that. I've heard people like fall off the goalpost falling down, but now they actually lower the goalpost right as it happens. All the teams do it. They lower it so that doesn't happen. So I just don't have a problem with it. I think it's fun. It's fun for the fans. And it looks cool on TV when they rush, when you have this big upset victory.
So you're saying you have more problem with students throwing tortillas on the field than you do 50,000 people rushing the field?
Because it's before the game one, and it could slow stuff down, and someone's got to pick it up because you can't have tortillas on the field and play the game. This is after the game. So it's not slowing the game down. And I really enjoy when the rush the field, when you see that on TV, I really enjoy that moment. It's just cool.
Okay. I'm not saying you're wrong. I was just making the point.
What do you think?
I'm kind of the opposite of you. I mean, I don't really mind them throwing the tortillas out there. You know they're going to do it. I'm not sure if you're ever really going to stop it. I mean, if I was a Texas Tech student body member, I would probably throw the tortillas, even if I'm going to catch you on camera and we're gonna fine you and we're gonna do this, or we're gonna revoke your student tickets, or they can do some stuff like that. I don't really think they're going to, but they could. But I also see the whole everybody rushing the field. Maybe it's just kind of from where I work at. I mean, we always have to watch out for what people do on our grounds, right? Because we let people onto the prison grounds all the time. If for those of you who don't know, that's what I do. Is I work at a prison, so we have to watch it when we let visitors in, and we have to do all these different kind of things that a lot of people get upset with us about. And it's like, well, we have made these changes because some other person has done it and then turned around and sued us and won. So I can see one of the student body members suing the school because they got trampled, or I can see a football player suing them, or a band member if they're trying to get out there and play at the end or something like that. So I get it, and I hope it never happens, obviously. But man, throw all the tortillas on the field you want, man. It's kind of goofy, but it's kind of cool all at the same time.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about the AP Top 25. And instead of going through the whole ranking system and everything else, let me just ask you a few questions about the AP poll. I should have put the AP poll up here, and we were doing some other stuff before the podcast. I didn't get a chance to do it.
Up. Okay. I just got it pulled up. Well, yeah.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, but fans, next time, I'll have the AP poll up on the screen for everybody to see, all right? So, should Alabama be ranked higher than what they are? I believe they're number 4, correct?
No, they shouldn't. They lost to Florida State, who's not a very good team. It was week 1, but yeah, they're 6-1. They've been playing well, but they're ranked 4th. That's the highest one-loss team. So that's that's the highest they should possibly be ranked. What do you think?
I'm with you. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's impressive what they have done in the last 4 weeks, and I will give them all the props for that. But it's also not impressive, I guess, what they did in week 1. And if you're going to say they did really well in those 4 weeks, you also have to take into consideration what they did in that week 1. Now,
they
if
were
one of those
pretty much dominated on the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball against a team, it turns out, is not very good. But maybe they've improved since then. But I still think about that.
Yeah, and you have to, right? You have to take the entirety of college football into perspective. You just can't focus on the last 4 games. So yeah. Now, if one of those teams in front of them loses another game, then can they inch up a spot or 2? Sure. But where things are at right now, I think Alabama's placement at 4 should be right where they are. Should Miami be ranked lower than Oregon? I mean, if you look at who each team has beat and lost to, shouldn't Miami be ranked ahead of Oregon.
I just realized 4 top 10 teams lost this past week.
Yes, there were a bunch of teams that lost this past week.
Yes, Miami should be lower than Oregon. So Miami lost to Louisville, and the Miami victory at Florida State doesn't look as good now. And Oregon's one loss was at home to the number 2 team in the country, who's undefeated, Indiana. So it's not necessarily who you beat. To me, when I'm doing ranking, is like, who did you lose to? If you have one loss, who did you lose to? And Oregon lost to a much better team. So, yeah, Oregon should be ahead of Miami. What do you think?
I don't know. Oregon lost to Penn State, right? I'm keeping all this in my brain, right?
Nope. They beat Penn State at Penn State.
So who did Oregon lose to? I'm losing it for a second.
Indiana. They lost to Indiana, number 2 team in the country.
That's right. That is right.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm thinking that Oregon lost to Penn State when I did this question.
They went to Penn State and won, and that was the start of the downfall of the James Franklin era. That was the start of the downfall. They did not recover after that game. The players pretty much just checked out. They thought, we're done. And they checked out at UCLA. And once they lost that, they checked out against Northwestern. That was the end of the James Franklin era. So Oregon's started the whole thing.
But Oregon has played a lot lighter schedule than what Miami has, right?
Now, looking at it now, because Penn State's not as good, yeah, it has. But, Indiana's number 2, undefeated. Miami, I just think, Oregon's 6th, Miami's 9th. Yeah, I think that makes sense. But we'll talk more about this in a second. But
all right,
Big Ten and SEC get the benefit of the doubt in the polls.
Should Texas Tech fall as far as they did, losing to Arizona State on the road with their backup quarterback? How far did they fall? Where are they ranked at right now, Cheese? You've got it pulled up in front of you. Texas
14th.
Tech.
14th and 15th in the 2 polls.
Whew. Man, they fell, what, 10, 11 spots?
7.
I think they were, yeah, that's a lot.
Okay, we're talking about it now. I said we're talking about it later. We're talking about it right now. Yes, there is a SEC Big Ten bias in the polls. ACC and Big 12, excuse me. ACC and Big 12, typically, when you lose, the people who do the polls, the AP and the coaches, both of them, they don't give you the benefit of the doubt. If you lose in conference, but you're a Big 12 team. Oh, okay, yeah, let's knock you down. If you win, great, we'll move you up, whatever. But if you lose, we'll knock you down. But Ole Miss can lose and still be 8th in the country because they lost in the SEC. So Oregon, lost in the Big Ten, not this past week before to Indiana. They're still 6th in the country. So there is an I think, ACC and even more so Big 12 bias that if you lose, they're not really for real. They lost the game. It exists. What do you think? I think you agree with me.
It's 100% right. I'm certainly going to agree with you because the next question on the list is why does the AP poll not respect the Big 12? I said this a couple of weeks ago. I'm not saying that the SEC is bad because that would be a really stupid statement, right? Because they are not a bad conference. But I kind of like the Midwest smash mouth, that type of football that the Big 12 teams seem to play. Give me the defense, give me the offense. I like a good game on both sides of the ball. And I'm not 100% certain that that's what all these SEC teams deliver. You said it a couple of weeks ago as well, and I'll agree with this statement too to back you up on this one. You said that the SEC has a much higher top 3 or 4 teams and not as high at the bottom, but the Big 12 kind of has like a gauntlet of about 6 teams in here. I mean, you've got Texas Tech, you got ASU, you've got not necessarily Baylor right now, but the University of Cincinnati is 6-1.
BYU, Utah, TCU.
Yeah, they're all like clumped
Iowa
right there
State.
together. Iowa State, even though they're, I believe, 4-2, they're right there. So I like the balance of the entirety almost of the Big 12, and I think the SEC is really good at the top and not so good at the bottom.
No, I'm going to kind of disagree with you. I think the SEC is the deepest conference of all of them. I think there's 11 or 12 teams that at least can beat anyone. I think it's deep, but I think the Big 12 is better than it's been in quite a few years. Definitely better than last year. There are a lot of good teams, maybe not great teams, but there's a lot of good quarterbacks. It's a better conference than last year. And the polls are treating it like it's the same as last year. And yeah, look, let's be honest. Okay, let's go through it. We mentioned TCU is better. Baylor, maybe about the same.
Mhm.
Iowa State, maybe the same. Utah is better. Texas Tech's better. Arizona State, maybe about the same. We'll see. But yeah, there's so many teams. It's so deep. I'm sure I just forgot one, but
UC, University of Cincinnati.
Cincinnati is better. Cincinnati's ranked. Yeah, they're definitely better this year.
Mhm.
And they're undefeated in conference. So
BYU.
BYU and Cincinnati, the two undefeated teams in conference. So it is there's 5 or 6 good teams in the conference when there were maybe 2 or 3 last year. But the polls are not recognizing that. They're just saying the Big 12, without Texas, Oklahoma. I think that's the thing. Oh, there's no Texas, Oklahoma, so it's just not as good. But Texas Tech, yeah, BYU, Cincinnati, way improved from last year.
Right, and they leave Texas in the top 25, and they had to go to overtime to beat I believe Kentucky over the weekend.
Texas is not very good this year.
No, they're not. So okay,
it seems like every time there's an SEC schools that are bad, like Florida and Texas, drop off, then you get teams like Texas A&M and Vandy that just are much better than expected. It seems like the SEC balances each other out somehow. It's still as strong as you expected.
So what are these smaller divisions? Excuse me, I don't think the ACC is going to do it this year, but what about the Big 12? What's the Big 12 have to do to gain respect?
They have to stop beating each other up. They can't all lose 2. They can't all lose 2 games. I think they need 1 or 2 elite teams. Like if BYU and Cincinnati play each other, I think second to last game of the year, if they're both undefeated in conference and they're both ranked like one's 9th, one's 12th or something, well, if they're undefeated, they should be higher than that. But
we'll see.
That would be we'll see. It's not probably not going to happen. Though. Probably not. But the point I'm trying to make is they need some elite teams. They need some teams that are just kicking ass. If there's 4 teams that are 10-2 and 3 that are 9-3, then they're not going to get respect.
But we've said the same thing about Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, right? They're all just going to kind of beat each other up. And that's why I was wondering why they didn't put Alabama a little higher, possibly, because they just beat those 4 SEC teams back to back to back to back.
Because the SEC gets the benefit of the doubt. They're going to get the benefit of the doubt no matter what. Teams in the SEC can lose at home to a team as good as them, and they'll drop 2 or 3 spots in the polls. Oh, well, they lost a tough SEC game, so it's not drop them that much. It's just the way it is. And I don't know, maybe it needs to change, but Tennessee did drop 6 spots, so 1 SEC school dropped somewhat, but Ole Miss only dropped 3 spots, losing to Georgia.
Yeah. Okay. So what about the winners and losers, right? Let's do that here for a second, and I'm just remembering that I've had all of this stuff here, and the one I remember, I don't have the winners and losers thing in here. So, no, I do. Look at this. Yeah. Okay. Week 7, biggest winner and loser, but it was week 8. So I don't know why I have week 7 up there. You know what?
That's all right. Yeah. But, and for everyone watching, we don't know who we're going to pick. So this is fun. So we'll see if we pick the same team. We almost never do. So.
No, I left it blank this time. Sometimes I give you what I'm going to pick, but I didn't this time. I left it completely blank. So who wants to go first? You and your Spidey cup, or me over here in my my flavored water?
Why don't you go first? So then I can adjust and see if you pick the same team as me.
Okay. So I'm going to say that Notre Dame was the biggest winner over the weekend because they put themselves at number 12. There is obviously a 12-team college football playoff, so if they don't lose anymore, I don't see them dropping below that 12, and they should make the college 12 or the 12-team college football playoff. So I would say because of their big win and they put themselves at number 12 in the rankings, that they were the biggest winners over the weekend.
I thought you'd say this team. So, but yeah, my number one team. I listed two just in case you took this team, but
okay.
Arizona State Sun Devils, huge win against Texas Tech, who was looking like they were going to run away with the Big 12. And even though Arizona State has 2 losses, they only have 1 in conference. So if they win out, they will very likely play for the Big 12 title. And, obviously they lost last week or week before without their quarterback, and they just have some absolute studs. Jordan Tyson, it's just every time I watch him, I find something else in my notes to say pause about him for my NFL draft videos. Like I already got so many notes on him. He's just incredible. So Arizona State, they're back ranked, I think, saved their season by beating Texas Tech.
And I'll give you that, but they also beat the team with a backup quarterback. So I don't give them everything. Last week they lost with their backup quarterback, and this week, when they lost last week, I was like, oh, no, you can't hurt us too bad. We had our backup quarterback in, right? So I don't feel like I can give them a whole lot of credit this week because Texas Tech had their backup quarterback in. To be honest, I would really like to see these two teams meet in the Big 12 conference tournament at the end with a full complement of players, and let's see what happens.
But when it comes time, maybe college football playoff, no one's going to remember it was the Texas Tech backup quarterback. They're not. They're going to look back and look at the scores. No one's going to remember if Texas Tech's borderline again, or Utah. No one's going to remember that Utah was a 13-10 game against Texas Tech late in the game, and then Texas Tech scored 21 points the last 7 minutes. It's the results that matter. So, yeah. So I got Arizona State.
So that was our winner of Week 8. What about the loser of Week 8? So you let me go first.
I'll go first.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll go first.
Be my guest, sir.
What is Florida State going to do? Okay, so Mike Norvell, I looked at two places. I Googled this. He either has a $58.6 million buyout if you fire him, or a $55.3, depending on the publication. Florida State started 3-0. They beat Alabama, great win. Then played 2 teams like Kent State and East Texas A&M, who I never even heard of. East Texas A&M, and they've gone 0-4 in the ACC ever since.
They're the opposite of the West Texas team. That's just so you know.
I think so.
Yeah.
I live in East Texas. I'd never heard of them, but. Florida State went to Virginia on a Friday night, probably thought we're tough shit. We're 3-0, and they didn't play well. They lost an overtime game, and Virginia just broke them. And you cannot lose to Pitt at home. You can't lose to Stanford. It's on the road, but you can't lose to Stanford or Pitt. They're not good teams. Those are bad teams. And Florida State's now 3-4. You cannot keep Mike Norvell. You can't. So it's an absolute disaster. I know they went 2-10 last year, but things were looking up. You beat Alabama, so I got to go with Florida State. What about you?
No, I'm not going with Florida State. I'm glad you picked them because I only had one team picked for this. Just I didn't do a backup plan here. So, my team is Memphis. Memphis lost to a 3-4 UAB team. Their quarterback. Hill, he only had 13 completions, and their running back. Hang on, let me pull these notes up to me. I'm getting old. I can't quite see where I've got them put out over here on the side. DeRocher Jr. That's what we're going to go with. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly or not. He only had 11 rushes. So your top running back only has 11 rushes. Your quarterback only has 13 completions, and Braham Jr. only has 5 receptions as your top receiver. You're not going to win very many games when your offense does that. And you know as well as I do, if Memphis doesn't win this game and then they win this coming Saturday, which one of us is probably going to talk about that in the game that we're looking most forward to in a moment. But they were set. They were set to be that 12th team in the college football 12-team playoff.
They keep winning.
And they blew it.
Blew versus a team they should absolutely win going away.
Yes.
Like 2 or 3 scores. Maybe not like win by 40, but they should have won by like 2 or 3 touchdowns.
Correct. So that's my biggest loser of the week because their road was paved with gold, and yeah, they let it get overgrown by the weeds.
Yep. And they already had the big win against the SEC opponent that beat Arkansas.
Yes.
This was a game. It was just a trap game week before South Florida. It was a total trap game, and same thing. Florida State trap game, Virginia before Miami.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they blew it.
All right. So, what Week 9 game are you most looking forward to, and why, sir?
I think you're going to pick the game I just referenced. So
yes, I am.
But I actually had something else. So
okay,
it's not one of the stronger weeks. It's a weaker week. I'll just say that. But there is a game. I think it's an elimination game in the SEC. Missouri is at Vandy.
Mm-hmm.
The loser is probably out because you look at their schedules. The loser has to win out to get in the playoff, but they're not going to. The schedule is just too tough. So The winner has a shot. The loser is probably out. So Missouri at Vandy is probably an elimination game. What about you?
I agree with you. That would be my 1A game because I what you said is 100% right. I don't think, you kind of said maybe, or I don't know, possibly. I would take maybe and possibly out of the sentence. Whichever one of these two teams loses, they're done. I mean, they're still going to get a bowl game, obviously, but they're not going to get to where they want to be in that 12-team playoff. So they'll get a bowl game, but they're not going to get the game. So that's going to be the difference. Whichever team is going to lose this game is going to lose quite a bit of money for their university. Yeah.
And real quick, because I know what game you're going to talk about, there are 3 teams I just want to mention that cannot slip up. The games they absolutely should win that might be trap games. Tennessee can't lose at Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Texas A&M can't lose at LSU. And Arizona State cannot blow it at home against Houston. I think all 3 of those teams will win, but they also could lose if they don't play well. So those are the 3 games I'm kind of, watching, but it's not the strongest week.
And I did watch Kenny Dillingham's press conference today. He was very big on how good Houston is, and we can't take them for granted. And, they have more wins than we do and all of this kind of thing. So he agrees with you. He was pounding that into the media today, and I'm sure that he's going to pound that into his players all week. So they still have a little bit of they got to play Houston. They don't play Cincinnati. They've already lost to Utah. There's one other big.
They don't play BYU, I don't think. No.
I don't believe so, no.
I don't think Arizona State has a tough game left, like a ranked team left. I do not think so. Let me look it up. I don't think they do. I think they're a tough part of the schedule they win through.
Well, I mean, to be honest, Houston's still a relatively tough team. Houston could beat them.
At Iowa State. After Houston at Iowa State, I mean, it's not tough. West Virginia, Colorado, Arizona. Arizona State definitely, they have a favorable schedule compared to most teams. BYU's schedule is about to get brutal. Let me pull it up. I know they're at Cincinnati later in the year. They're at Iowa State, at Texas Tech, TCU, at Cincinnati. That's their next 4 games. So much tougher. That's brutal.
It's a big stretch. That's a big stretch right there. Yep. All right, so let's do the last part of our college football.
Oh, no, what game you looking most forward to?
Oh, of course. I'm sorry. You are right. I was going to skip right over top of it. South Florida and Memphis. There's one, as you know, there is one at-large bid for the 12-team playoff.
Non-Power 4 conference. There's
non-power.
One guaranteed. Boise State got it last year. Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing this game is probably elimination game is what you're going to say.
Yes. Yeah. There's again, I'm going to take the word probably out of it. I mean, the team that loses this is not going to get in.
Yeah.
So, South Florida, it is at Memphis. South Florida probably has the better resume overall, but Memphis lost at the right time, maybe, because a lot of times you get beat like that, you get humiliated like that, and now they're going to come out just full of fire and brimstone, I guess. And so maybe that's going to fuel Memphis. I mean, I really think this is going to be a really good game. I hope that it's broadcast on a bigger network so that these two teams can get a bigger stage. I don't know where it's going to be broadcast at. I know Big Noon is not there. They're in, I believe, Indiana this week. But yeah, I hope these two teams get some recognition, and I hope the team that wins gets a lot of recognition over the weekend.
I think it's an early game. I think isn't it an 11 a.m. game? Yeah, it's 11 a.m. game on ESPN2. So it's early. Or you can watch Bill Belichick lose to Virginia, because that's what Bill Belichick does at North Carolina. All they do is lose.
It's true. But he might get engaged at the same time. So
that poor man. Ole Miss, Oklahoma's at noon, by the way. Number 8 versus number 13. I didn't even mention that. I kind of missed that game, but that could be an elimination game. Both teams have one loss. So that game, we didn't even bring that one up.
Yeah, we didn't.
Yeah. Ole Miss, great offense. Oklahoma, great defense. Okay. Yeah, that's probably an elimination. No, sorry. That's an elimination game. Take the probably out of it.
Take the probably out.
All right.
All right. We're going to put that on the shirt. Take the probably out.
Okay.
We got to get some money together to make shirts first, but we'll put that on the shirt someday.
I'll let you invest it.
Okay. I appreciate that.
No
Thank
problem.
you. Thank you for letting me do it. So the last thing we're going to do here, college football spread offense, is the following. And let's go ahead and put it up here on the screen. Yes, the pros and cons of the Cignetti contract. So, as most of you know, Cignetti coaches the Indiana Hoosiers, and he got a big contract over the weekend. Actually, it was on Thursday of last week. But we need to go through and look at, because I think there's some things that I understand why they did it. And there's some things that I'm kind of like, maybe you shouldn't have done it. So let's go over some of these, right? So let's do the pros and the cons of this contract. So the last 3 years, Indiana has gone 9-27. And in the last year and a half, under Cignetti, they have gone 18-2. What is that worth to a university, Cheese?
It depends on the university, though. But for Indiana, huge. It's a basketball school. It has been until the last couple of years. It is a basketball school. When I was a kid growing up, a lot later than you were a kid, many years later, Indiana was like when Indiana was on the schedule, the spreads were like 30. Like Michigan, Ohio State were like, oh yeah, Indiana, this is like our homecoming. That's what it was. They were a team that you probably were going to win going away, and it's completely turned around. So it's really important for that university.
Yeah, Indiana used to be one of those lick your chops teams, right? When you would be licking your chops when they came in to play you, because you're like, oh, we got this one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So most people don't know, and I didn't know this until I really started researching this contract, that Cignetti has actually signed 3 contracts in a year and a half with the Indiana University.
Yep.
So his first one was for $4 million for the 2025 season.
Mm-hmm.
And then after he went 10-0, as you talked about last week, he's got a really good agent, and the agent went to them and said, hey, we're going to go somewhere else if you don't pay us some good money. I mean, we started 10-0 for you guys. We're putting you guys on the map. We're getting you into the upper echelon of the Big Ten. We got you into the college football playoff. Here's all the things that we did for you. Now you need to pay us. And they did. So the second contract was after their 10-0 start, and they signed Cignetti to an 8-year, $72 million contract that went until 2032. Now, and we all know what sparked this, right? We all started hearing the rumors, Cignetti is going to leave Indiana and he's going to go to Penn State. Or Cignetti's going to leave and he's going to go to, I don't know, maybe Arkansas if he thought that was a better job. Or Florida State. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
We've got all of these teams out here now that are vying
for
their services. All
those teams would hire him. All those teams would.
Yes, and it's not a stretch. It's not a stretch whatsoever. So then the athletic director at Indiana said, okay, calm down. Don't go anywhere. Let's up this contract again. And they did. $11.6 million a year until 2033. So one more year past where he was before, and 16.6, or excuse me, $11.6 million every year up until then. But they also did a couple of other interesting things that I'd like to bring up as well. They increased the on-field salary staff from 6.4 million to 11 million. And in everything that I read, it said that that was part of what Cignetti wanted. He wanted to be able to keep his offensive coordinator. He wanted to be able to keep his defensive coordinator. He wanted to be able to keep some of these, I guess we'll call them lower level, like the offensive line coaches. And he wanted to keep a nice, tight group of people there at Indiana. So they allowed him to do that. So they got him into this, and they've done this 3 times now, Cheese. And here's my question after I've talked incessantly about this contract now. What stops them from doing it a 4th time? What stops his representation from going to Indiana again? And where do you, as Indiana, say, no, we're done. We're not paying you anymore? Where is this line? Where is it going to be?
This has to be the line. This has to be the final time. James Franklin getting fired, I think, is the only reason he got another contract, because as soon as he got fired, the rumor was Penn State's going to go after someone big, and possibly Cignetti. You heard that. I heard that. Mm-hmm. And as soon as the agent hears that, or maybe the agent's involved in it, who knows, they're going to use that. And the worst thing you could have happen is you build this program, one of the best in the country, and then they go to your rival, one of the conference. The last thing you want is that to happen. And the agent probably used that. But like you said, you made a really good point about Cignetti. He also looked like he helped out his assistants get paid more. So it's not just about him. I want raises for my assistants. My assistants probably aren't paid close to Michigan, Ohio State. That's just what I'm assuming. I don't know for a fact, but probably not. And he wants to help them out too. But if I'm Indiana, to answer your question, I said we've done this 3 times now in a year and a half. We're not doing it again. You got your contract. It's working. But if you threaten us again, we're not paying you more. You can go wherever, but this is it. This is it.
And then Indiana can kind of sell that to their fan base, right?
Absolutely. I mean, what is he, like the 3rd highest paid coach of college football now?
Yeah.
We're investing in the program. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, obviously the boosters are paying for it. The university's not, you know how it works. But yeah, you can sell us the fan base. You can sell the fan base. I'm sure season tickets have skyrocketed. I'm sure merchandise sales have skyrocketed. They lost 1 game last year before the only 2. They actually lost 2 games. Lost one in the playoffs. They lost the 2 teams in the finals. That's it. That's the only 2 teams they lost to. The 2 teams in the final of the college football playoff, and they're undefeated this year, ranked 2 in the country. And I'll just say this: I had them ranked 2 last week when we did it. And you had them 3, but you had Miami ahead of them. Just saying.
It's okay. It's all right. You shouldn't always point out people's deficiencies, sir. I thought we were going to have a positive show. I thought that's what we were doing here.
Well, I did pick Alabama to win the national title. Who did you pick? Sorry. Anyway, next topic. Sorry.
All right. So you mentioned it. We're going to dive into this for a second. So he's the 3rd highest paid coach per season in college football right now, behind Kirby Smart's $13.28 million per season, and Ohio State's Ryan Day gets $12.57. And then next in line is the $11.6 million that they just signed Cignetti to. In your mind, is Cignetti the 3rd best coach in college football?
Ryan Day can probably get 20 if he ever beats Michigan. But it's hard to argue he's not a top 3 coach. I mean, who I mean, obviously he doesn't win anything. It's a small sample size, but what he's done, it's the program. It's not necessarily what he's done. It's what he's done at what program. Because nothing against Ryan Day or Kirby Smart or Kalen DeBoer. Their universities are going to sell themselves, or at Texas or Notre Dame. You're going to get recruits because of who you are. So it's pretty amazing what he's done. So it's hard to argue he isn't. What do you think?
I agree with you. His recruitment is what has impressed me more than anything else, right? You just said it. They're going up against big boys in the Big Ten. I mean, you didn't mention Oregon. You didn't
Yeah.
mention Penn State. You didn't mention Michigan. Those are all teams that
Hmm.
traditionally have been able to get those recruits. And Indiana has, they don't get the 5-star guys. They're happy with 4 3-star guys, right?
Yeah.
So to be able to move Indiana's needle is a big step for him. But I've got a couple of cautionary tales here, and that's what we're going to talk about next. He is currently 64 years old, and he will be 72 years old if he fulfills this contract that he just signed. It reminds me of a Bill Belichick or something like that, right? It reminds me of I was trying to think maybe another really older coach that I can't really think of anybody else right offhand, but I don't, and maybe there's a reason why I can't think of any other older coaches because they don't stay around that long. I mean, I know Cignetti has done a lot over the last year and a half, but you're signing an older guy to a long-term deal. Isn't that a recipe for disaster?
It actually might be in their benefit because teams might, as the contract goes on, the longer he stays, teams might be more reluctant to try to steal him away. So that's what I thought when you sent me this question. That's the first thing I thought was his age might actually help Indiana. He might just retire there because he gets to be 67. Do you really want to hire a 67-year-old coach who might retire when he's 72, 73? You only have him for 4 or 5 years. No, college football programs want a guy that's going to stay 20 years. So it actually might help Indiana the next 4 or 5 years because he's probably going to stay there because of it. That's what I thought.
Okay, I didn't think of that actually.
Yeah. What do you think? You think it could hurt them? I mean,
I do. I think as you get into that age echelon, you start to, I mean, you're trying to coach 18, 19, 20-year-old kids, right? And as you get into your late 60s and early 70s, can you really relate to those people? I mean, I'm in my 50s, and it's hard for me to relate to people who are 18 and, look like they fell into a tackle box and, tattoos all over them and stuff like that I just don't get into, right? So, and it's really hard for me not to judge them because of it. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't like all that stuff. So I don't know. I think as he gets older, I think he's going to get more and more out of touch with the people he's trying to coach.
I get it.
What part of extending his contract guarantees he will have, well, he and the university will have future success? Just because you extend the contract, that doesn't guarantee you anything. So why do you do
it? you do it because you want to keep them happy, and you also want to help recruiting. If the bigger the contract, the longer term contract, you can tell recruits, hey, look, he's signed long term. He's not going anywhere. So it's a future thinking thing. It may not help you like right now, but it's going to help you in the future. And teams that are trying to recruit against Indiana can't say, oh, he's probably going to end up leaving. He's had success, so probably going to end up leaving. And then when Indiana calls those recruits, no, he just signed a contract. He's going to retire here. So it's good PR, and you're rewarding him as well.
Okay. Here's my last one, and this is kind of a big one for me. I can't wait to get your take on this last one. Didn't these universities learn from James Franklin? I mean, didn't these universities learn from what we know? What's the guy you just mentioned? Either Florida or Florida State.
Mike Norville. He's the coach.
Yeah, you're like, hey, they've got to let him go. But the reason they haven't let him go, and we both know this, is because of the money that they owe him.
Or he would have been fired last year. He went 2-10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
It's it's the Albert Pujols of baseball. It's why do you sign these people? And we'll talk about Albert Pujols here in a little bit. Well, why do you sign these people to these huge contracts just to, as you said, make them happy? Who cares if they're happy or not? I'll go out and find another coach that I don't have to pay that kind of money to.
It's the system. And I don't know what happened with the James Franklin extension. I did not follow it too much, but it's possible other teams were interested, and he was threatening to go to maybe USC or Florida State or somewhere in the SEC. Who knows? He used to coach at Vandy, but that's possible. And to keep them there, okay, we'll stay. We'll sign an extension. But also, like I said, it helps recruiting. It when you know the coach is going to be there, it helps recruiting. A lot of recruits go for the head coach because when you see a head coach get fired, a lot of recruits. It happened at Tennessee multiple times when Lane Kiffin was there. That was a disaster. But when he left, they lost almost the entire recruiting class. So it's more about the future, not about the now.
All right. So I want to say, before we jump into our Major League Baseball here, we had a lot. A bunch of impressions over the weekend. I was really busy on our social media. You can go right now and figure out who do our fans think. 209 people looked at our poll question about the World Series. We talked about, I don't think I've ever seen the Mariners' Eugenio Suarez get that animated over a ball and strike call. And I asked, did the MLB home plate umpire get it right? And 68% of you said no. We also talked about, did the referee get the first down call correct involving the Buccaneers? We'll talk about that one in a moment because I believe you're going to. Oh no, we're not going to talk about the referee stuff. That's one of the things we decided to cut out of the football talk today, right, buddy?
There's so much NFL topic. I literally wrote half of what I wanted to because it's just for time. Yeah. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about another. Maybe we'll make a video about it.
Maybe we will. Yeah. I like that idea.
But for the podcast.
Maybe we put it out there. Almost 500 people looked at this one.
Maybe I have you on Football Cheese and we talk about it.
All right. I like that idea, buddy. I like it a lot. 44 votes. Did the referees get the first down call correct involving the Buccaneers number 88 tight end Cade Otton, right?
Otton.
Yeah. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
On that Monday Night Football game. And 79.5% of you said no. No, they didn't. Mm-hmm. And then one more thing we've got over here on our X count, All Gloves Off SM, which of course stands for Sports Media. That's what we are now a part of, is the All Gloves Off Sports Media. And here's this. We'll do this a little bit of a tease before we jump into our football stuff later on. The Bengals are actually opening as a 5.5-point favorite against the winless Jets. We'll talk about, I'm sure, both of those teams when we get to our close of the show, which will be the top 10 worst teams in the National Football League. We'll get to all of that here in just a moment.
Got that first down, by the way. He got it.
Yeah, he got it.
He did.
You think they got it wrong too?
I do. I think there was also a play where Cade Otton had the ball same as the defender. Ty's supposed to go to the receiver. They gave it to the Lions on an interception. I think the refs would just seem to favor the Lions in the game last night. And I don't think the Texans got a lot of favors either against the Seahawks. I was looking forward to both those games. I thought they'd be so close, and they were both duds.
So you're saying that the Detroit Tigers got the Kansas City Chiefs treatment? Or the Detroit Lions. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm still
not that. No, they didn't get that. It wasn't that favorable. Let's not go overboard, buddy. Not that favorable. It wasn't a game where they just didn't call any penalties on the whole Chiefs the entire game. No. Lions got screwed in that Chiefs game. Absolutely screwed. But they got some benefits last night against the Buccaneers.
Okay. See, I'm already looking forward to our baseball segment here because we're going to talk about a lot of different things. So let's go ahead and let's jump into it here, buddy. We are going to do baseball with our MLB 4-pitch talk. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the second of our segments here on the Lights Out Sports Podcast with myself, Mike Valentine, and Cheese. Cheese, I've talked about where they can get us at on Twitter. Where can they get you at on Twitter, sir?
It's at Football with Cheese, CHEEZ, like on the screen. So yeah, at Football with Cheese on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the bell for notification. Also on X at Football Cheese, basically without the lid. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and follow me on X.
All right, we are 4 followers away from 7,650 people following us. So we appreciate all of you guys doing that. Let's jump into our MLB talk here, as we will do right now. The MLB 4-pitch talk. We're talking about, believe it or not, the Arizona Fall League first, and the Pittsburgh Pirates being involved in it. Then we're going to look at Shohei Ohtani and why I can't stand this guy, and I'm going to tell you the reasons why here in just a moment. Then we're going to look at the Angels. What in the world are the Anaheim Angels doing? They did something today that I do not understand whatsoever, and we'll tie it in to Albert Pujols. And then we will look at the Dodgers and the Blue Jays, position by position. I'm actually got the checklist right here beside of me. You and I are going to decide who wins each position, and then based on that, who's going to win the World Series. So let's get into it, Cheese. Let's talk about the Arizona Fall League here. So both of these prospects are with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Some crazy stuff here. So the first one is Esmeralyn, I believe is how you say it, Esmerlyn. His last name I got, Valdez. So he had another absolutely monstrous week at the plate, homering in 4 of his 5 games played, and then capping it off with a 2-homer performance this past Sunday. All told, Valdez reached base in 15 of his 24 plate appearances and bashed 5 homers just in this week to bump his Arizona Fall League lead to 7 through 2 weeks of play. And that, Cheese, is more than twice the home run total of anyone else in the Fall League. It hasn't really taken very long for Valdez to establish himself as the most feared hitter on the circuit, and with very good reason. He has 8 extra base hits, 13 RBIs, 13 walks through 8. That's right, 8 games. And he's reached base 23 times despite only 20 official at-bats, because, of course, the walks don't count as official at-bats. So that already puts Valdez in historic company. Only 13 players have hit more home runs than Valdez in a full Arizona Fall League season history, and he's only in week number 2. So this guy is beating the cover off the ball, man. Have you gotten a chance to look at any of the Arizona Fall League stuff, sir?
I have, and pretty incredible what he's doing. I will say this, though. Arizona Fall League stats, the ball does fly. The hitters typically do really well. And I used to follow it even more than I do now, especially when, I remember when the Cubs were really bad. And the Braves had stretches where they were bad too. And so they have a lot of good prospects in the Fall League. But sometimes the Fall League, hitters just hit everything, and then they go AAA the next year and they're not nearly the player. Not saying it'll happen here, but sometimes players it just clicks in Arizona. It clicks and the ball flies out, but it's certainly remarkable what he is doing.
I'm gonna plug this really good here. I'm gonna take a break from my and Cheese knows, man, I work a ton of hours, and I'm gonna take a break the 8th through, I believe, like the 12th of November. Right there, there's a stretch there where I can watch the Fall Star game. You should come out with me, man. We'll do some live stuff from the stadium if we can get there. Fall Star game. I'll watch a game on Monday, do the podcast on Tuesday, watch another game on Wednesday, and then the playoffs. That's the last week of the Arizona Fall League there, and the playoffs start. So I'm really looking forward to the Arizona Fall League. I might even contact my good buddy Mitch out here that I used to do this podcast with and see if we can't go to a few of those games. But I really, really love the Arizona Fall League. And if that's not enough, the Pittsburgh Pirates, according to Baseball America, have the second best prospect. That was the first best prospect, Mr. Valdez. And now they have a guy named Tony Blanco Jr., one of the more interesting prospects in the 2025 Arizona Fall League. He is, you ready for this? 6'7", 243 pounds of Pirate outfielder. The man has got just gargantuan power. Such was the case on Thursday night, and I saw this earlier on the highlight. I mean, you get a chance to see this. If you have MLB TV, by the way, there's one of these games on every day, so you can catch one of these games as well if you have the MLB TV on your phone or on your television. So on Thursday night, he's only 20 years old. He demolished a 464-foot three-run homer, and it was 112.2 miles per hour off his bat at Salt River Field in the fourth inning. That went way up onto the berm in left field. That thing was just absolutely blasted. Blanco had the furthest hit ball to date so far in the Arizona Fall League campaign, and he's sitting atop such a leaderboard. That's an old hat for this Pittsburgh prospect. He is their 30th prospect currently, but he has delivered both the hardest hit and the farthest hit ball in Single A Florida. He plays for the Single A Florida State League, so this isn't new to him. In fact, he clobbered a ball in the Florida State League at 119.8 miles an hour that went 450 feet. And by the way, it was a walk-off to give his team the win. Man has got just power for days, man. If you get a chance to see this guy, Cheese, you need to see this guy. Huge, huge man.
Yeah, these guys can move up the charts, but neither one are top 100 prospects. Just want to say that right now. But, you know, yeah, maybe they're breaking out. Like I said, you got to take the Arizona Fall League with a grain of salt. Some guys it just clicks in the warm weather. There are two guys I want to mention.
Sure.
Mention two real quick. They're both Cubs prospects.
Oh, imagine that.
Yeah, Owen Ayers. He was a 19th round pick, I believe, in either 2023 or 2024. Switch hitting catcher. He was the player of the week the first week. Obviously, we know the player of the week was week 2.
Right.
But
I think his last name was Valdez, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Esmeralda or something. Okay.
Yeah, something like that.
But Ayers, he's hitting 333, 429 on base, 778 slugging, has as many homers as strikeouts. And 19th round pick catcher, doing great things for the Cubs. There's another guy. This is a much bigger prospect. His name is Cole Mathis. Cole Mathis was a second round pick in the 2024 draft. And he played for, I believe, Charleston. And as soon as he got drafted, he blew his elbow out, Tommy John surgery. So he's just making his way back. But the Cubs love Cape Cod League, which is a wooden bat league for college players. They focus more on that than actual college stats. Matt Shaw is a great example. He was the MVP of the Cape Cod League. He was the Cubs' first round pick in the 2023 season. And Cole Matthews was I think the runner-up for MVP in 2023 for that. And they used he was a second round pick, but he's barely played because of the Tommy John. He's coming back. He's a third baseman, and he is hitting, I just had it, I lost. 400, 474 on base, 600 slugging. Obviously he's not because of Mr. Valdez. No one's probably talking about him, but Cole Mathis, a couple Cubs raking.
Yes. I mean, I love the Arizona Fall League. And one of the big reasons why I love it is, you can go, the tickets are, I believe, like $11 a piece, and the stadium is open. $11, you can sit wherever you want. You can move around if you want. They've got some really good looking merchandise. They really do. It's really nice looking stuff. It's well put together. And then it's well organized. And these guys are still young enough to where they haven't gotten that big league experience yet. So they still want to sign autographs. Like, you line up for them and they'll come out of the dugout and they'll sign stuff for you. I've got some cards and I'm going to try to get signed over the next week or two. That's just one of the things I love. I love the autograph part of it. That's why I love spring training so much. And it's just, man, there's nothing like for me, I just like to be able to have a 2-minute conversation with these guys, right? Encourage them a little bit. Hey, can you sign this for me? They'll say yes, sir, and no, sir, and all of that stuff. And then you give them some words of encouragement. And it's just one of the things that I really love about baseball in this time of year with the Fall League. And if you guys have never been to the Fall League, you need to come out to the Fall League. I mean, I'm not getting any free tickets for this or anything. This is me talking right off the cuff, man. This is the way I really feel about this Fall League. I love it so much. Cheese, you ever been to the Fall League out here?
I haven't. And if people don't know, teams typically send about 8 prospects there. A lot of times it's guys that were hurt, like Cole Mathis, I just mentioned. They were hurt, didn't play a lot of the year, or just want to get more experience. Sometimes,
yes,
let them get more experience because maybe he can help us next year. So it's typically guys between high A ball and triple A, and so it's some very good prospects are in the league. This is not your worst guys, your backup catchers in A ball. These are some these are guys that teams see as future major leaguers. So it's cool to see all these prospects all together in one place. You don't get that anywhere else throughout the minor league.
I'm trying to look it up here real quick. I know that our buddies Ricky and Roger that do the Red Hot Reds podcast, they recently had an interview with one of their guys. Man, this
guy playing for the Chattanooga Lookouts. Yes.
Right. He now plays for the Javelinas. I'm looking to see if I can get their roster up here real fast, and then I can tell you the guy's name. I'm about to get it here. Give me just a second. Kevin Abel, I believe that's the right gentleman.
He can throw hard.
Yes, he can.
He can.
No, I am wrong. It's Trevor. I'm going to butcher his name, and he's going to hurt me. He's probably going to hit me with a 98-mile-per-hour fastball when I go ask him for his autograph.
Where's Roger in the comments when we need him? Where?
Oh, right. He was there earlier. Roger,
yes.
Tell us, how do you say his last name? It's spelled Kunci. Kunci? I don't know. It almost looks too easy just to say it. But I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, if you get a chance, go over to our YouTube page. It is at All Gloves Off Sports Media. You can find that on YouTube. And they've got a great interview. Both Ricky and Roger interview him. Fantastic story. Check it out. It's really worth the listen. It's a great story. And we love the Arizona Fall League. Let's jump here to Major League Baseball for a moment. I'm going to get on a soapbox, man. You may have to knock me off of this one, all right? So stop me here if you need to, okay? Everybody wants to talk about Shohei Ohtani and that one great game, right, where he hit like 3 home runs and struck out 10 people, and he's fantastic. All right, but what about the rest of the series? Shohei Ohtani was 1 for 18 in the NLDS, and up until that game, the first 2 games against Milwaukee, he was 1 for 7. That's, by the way, as a .143 batting average in those first 2 games. Yet he got MVP. And I can't stand it. I'm trying to contain myself here because this is absolute. Because of one game, guys. He's a unicorn for one game. What do you think about him getting the MVP for just that? I mean, I know that game was 10 strikeouts and 3 home runs, but come on, how can you get a series MVP because you have one really good game?
Well, obviously it was Game 7, and every game was close. Oh wait, the Brewers hit 118 this series.
Right.
Brewers hit. You, me, and 7 of our friends could probably have done just as good a job as the Brewers bats in that series.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
I'll say this. I'll give Ohtani credit. I'm going to give him credit here. Okay. Before I trash him, I'm going to give him credit. He's very good at convincing his translator to take the fall for his gambling. He's very good at that.
Very good at that.
So good for him. So he doesn't have to go to jail and get kicked out of baseball. They literally, a guy who bet on his team, didn't bet against him, literally like held him out of the Hall of Fame till he died. But whatever. Just that investigation just disappeared like that. Anyway.
He's not the new unicorn, sir.
Oh yeah, apparently not. But
bright, shiny, $700 million object out in LA.
But it's Ohtani. And he's marketable, and you get Japan people watching, and he's finally on a plane in Toronto that was reported by multiple people. He's supposed to sign with the Blue Jays. He's finally going to fly to Toronto this week. We've been waiting for that. It's been over a year. We've been waiting for that. So fine.
He will be there on Friday. And Cheese and I do want to do a game of the World Series. Not 100% sure which game we're going to do yet. We might do the first game on Friday. We may wait until Monday, but I don't know. I don't know if I can convince Cheese to do a game on Monday against Monday Night Football or not.
Well, wait, who's playing? I got to watch the football. It's for my channel, but let me check.
Well, I mean, your Packers are playing Sunday night against the. Hang on.
Glad you brought that up. Oh no, this might be the highest rated game,
right? And the Steelers.
This might be the highest rated game in Sunday Night Football history. I would be shocked if it wasn't top 3. This is Aaron Rodgers playing the Green Bay Packers. This is gonna be insane.
And it's in Green Bay, right?
Yes. Real quick, I know we're talking baseball. I just want to mention this because I didn't put it in the NFL notes for time, but everyone's going to talk about Aaron Rodgers wants to beat the Packers. Aaron Rodgers. But I'm telling you this, Jordan Love wins to win that game as much or more than Aaron Rodgers. He sat behind him. He thought he probably wasn't going to get his chance. Trust me, Jordan Love is going to show up in that game. He's going to ball. And Monday Night Football is Washington at Kansas City. So Friday, game 1. Want to do a watch along?
Let me ask you this. I'm going to do this live on the air. We haven't discussed this at all.
You know what?
Wait. Let me give you a proposal.
I just realized I can't. Let's do Monday.
What if we do this? What if I give you this proposal? What if we do the Sunday night game together, and then we turn around and do the Monday baseball game together?
Let's do the Monday baseball game. I cannot watch Green Bay versus Aaron Rodgers on a watch along because I don't want to scream F-bombs. I can't do a Packer watch along. I just can't.
Okay,
I get really wound up. But
that would be great television.
Let's do Monday. I have 2 TVs. Let's do Monday World Series game. What do you think? I can have Commanders Chiefs on another TV. I don't mind. What do you think?
Yeah, let's
do it.
Let's go for it. Let's put it as a tentative yes.
And that is
we'll do
game
a watch
3,
along Monday
in LA.
That is game 3, yes, because they do Friday, Saturday. There's a break on Sunday, even though it's still in the same city, I think. Oh, no, they go to Toronto for games 1 and 2.
So it'll be in LA, but it starts at 8 Eastern, 5 your time on Monday. Yeah, let's do a watch along.
Okay, excellent. And I'm sure all of our fans will be right along with us, and they'll tell their friends. They probably got more friends than I do. So we'll get some stats on that. Let's go back to Shohei for a minute. So I don't like the fact that Shohei got his, not necessarily flowers, but I just don't like that he got the MVP with one good game. Now you got Vladimir Guerrero on the other end, right? The man is just ripping this place apart. He was 10 for 26. That's a 385 clip in this last series. 3 homers, 4 walks, only struck out twice, and had 22 total bases. And I'm going to say this. Give me Vladimir Guerrero over Shohei Ohtani every day that ends in Y.
His dad never struck out much either, but
no.
I just thought of something you said. Yeah. That would be like Shohei Ohtani getting MVP would be like George Springer getting the MVP for the series against the Mariners because he had that one big hit because he changed the game with that 3-run homer. So let's give him the MVP instead of Vlad, who just killed it the whole series. So, yeah, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's a stud. There were rumors before the season, before they extended him, might trade him. You know, they didn't want to trade him, but they finally came to an agreement. But I'm glad they did. I'm glad he stayed there. I love when players stay with their team and sign extensions, no matter who the team. You want stars in every franchise. So he's just an absolute stud. He can just hit, and his dad could really, really hit too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right. So let me ask you this though. So on this, you've got the Dodgers and you got the Blue Jays, right? 2, I believe, number 1 in payroll and number 6 in payroll.
Yeah.
So do you have to have a high-priced superstar on your team to compete in Major League Baseball? I can't wait to hear the answer to this question.
Yeah, I think so, because you're not just winning like 2 series used to be. Baseball, you got to win 3 or 4 series. I think the Royals, did the Royals have a superstar back in like like 11 years ago? Did they have a superstar? They won the World Series.
They did it more with the Mike Moustakas and more
Salvador
the mid-card guys.
Perez.
Salvador
They had Ben
Perez. They had
Zobrist.
Gordon in the outfield.
Yeah,
I'm missing
defense,
somebody.
very good defense. Yeah, Ben Zobrist was clutch.
Osmer, that's who I'm missing.
Yeah. But
got his autograph right over there.
Yeah, I think you pretty much do it. This could change baseball because the collective bargaining agreement will run out after next year, and Dodgers making 2 straight World Series. Another team went over the luxury tax. Toronto Blue Jays making the World Series. The Brewers didn't come close to the Dodgers. I think that series has more to do with anything. Is you got the team that's 22nd payroll, couldn't do anything in 4 games against the team that spends 4 times what they spend, 4 times. So I think this could change baseball, and it needs to change. And I think the NBA model, you're never going to go to the NFL model, hard cap. It's just not going to happen. It wouldn't work. But go to the NBA model. More punishment and max contracts. So if you have max contracts, any team can re-sign their own players. They don't have to trade them. The Brewers, I just mentioned them. They're shopping allegedly Freddie Peralta, who's 1 year left on his deal, because they can't afford to pay him. That's sad. They should be able to extend him. He should stay with Milwaukee. So,
well, and I'm not going to say they can't afford to pay him. You know what, man?
They're not going to, but yeah.
I can't wait to do this watch along because it gives us time to talk about stuff in between innings. I'm gonna have so many notes on this stuff, and I'm gonna be like you on your Football with Cheese channel where you have to edit everything down. And by the way, I want to give you your kudos because I think you were a little resistant to this, but I have to tell you, man, I love the new way you're constructing your channel with the shorter videos on some different subjects like that. I don't know how the rest of our fan base feels, but I love it. I'm able to listen to one on the way home. I'm able to listen to one on the way to work, and I can listen to the entire thing. I really, really like the new way you're doing this. I want to give you your kudos for that.
You didn't like the 56-minute Week 3 preview? You didn't like that?
No, because it would take me like 4 days of driving back and forth to listen to it, and then you'd have 3 more videos out, and I'd be like, "Daggone, I can't watch them all, man."
Well, the Mets are so poorly run, so.
Yes, but he's right though. Based on payroll, the Mets should be great, but that's not the way it happens in baseball all the time.
The Reds beat them right at the end and made the playoffs, and the Mets didn't. Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right, so let's do this, and let's ask a couple questions here about the Anaheim Angels real quick.
Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim.
Oh, okay. Pardon me.
California Angels.
Yeah. So the Angels have now told Albert Pujols, and they have told Torrey Hunter, 2 people who are pretty legendary to their teams, that they want nothing to do with them, and they're not going to hire them as their managerial candidate. Now, after I made this question, I don't know, it was late last night when I was finishing this up. I don't know if you saw today, they have actually hired a manager today.
I know him well.
Suzuki.
I know him well.
So what do you mean you know him well? How do you know him so well?
He used to be the catcher for the Braves for several years.
That's true.
I don't know him personally.
Oh, well, I thought you were going to give me some big story about how you guys met and you went out to dinner and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's a dick. I had to get the check. He's a dick. No, I just know him for the Braves. But anyway, go ahead. What was your question?
Well, no, I mean, so, I was going to ask, who are they looking at, Kurt Suzuki or Bo Porter, and would you take either one of those 2 over Pujols and Hunter? That was going to be my first question. So what do you think? Now that we know they've hired Suzuki, should they have taken Suzuki or maybe even Bo Porter, who was, used to be the manager of the Astros? He was their third base coach last year, over Hunter and Pujols.
Yeah, Bo Porter was the obvious retread coach. If you want someone who had experience, obviously. Kurt Suzuki, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I should have done research on this, but I didn't. Wasn't he like a special assistant at the Rangers? Or was it with the Angels? Was it with the Angels?
Special assistant with the Angels, actually.
Yeah, some special advisor assistant. Okay, with the Angels. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's what David Ross was before he was hired with the Cubs. No managerial experience. That's all you had to do was baseball. NFL would never happen, but baseball, it can for some reason. You don't have to have experience, but so it is a risk. But teams, a lot of them, like to hire catchers because catchers know hitting and they know pitching.
Yep.
They've called a game. So a lot of teams want to hire catchers, and I think that's the main reason that Suzuki got hired.
Okay. Yeah, you've got one that's done really well in Cleveland, right? You've got a general manager that is one in the Giants, who, by the way, just hired. That was an unusual hire from the coaching ranks that they brought in to the Giants. Well,
during the watch long, we got to talk about that. We're going
to talk about that next week.
I have a lot to say about that. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll set that up. We'll certainly talk about that next week. And then one of the other things that I want to talk about as well is maybe we'll talk about it during our watch along on Monday. But I also want to talk about something that you said a couple weeks ago, caught my fancy a little bit, and I've been doing some research on, so this will help me on the watch along. Are the Dodgers ruining baseball? We'll talk about that as well. So when the Angels were having these discussions with Pujols and Hunter, supposedly, by everything that I read, they were having disagreements on compensation on their coaching staffs that they wanted to hire and other resources. So now I'm going to ask you this. Are the Angels finally learning? Are they going, no, we're not going to pay these crazy contracts to these guys anymore? I mean, they already did it to Albert Pujols. Do you think that the Angels and Artie Moreno had enough guts, I'll use that word, had enough guts to go into that meeting and tell Pujols, no, I think we've overpaid you enough, buddy. You're going to give us a hometown discount to be our manager. And that's what kind of got all this started?
He doesn't need the money. But Pujols is not the worst contract in Angels history. It probably isn't bottom two. Josh Hamilton and Anthony Rendon are probably worse.
Yeah.
Anthony Rendon is definitely worse. But I did not know that about the money. But I wouldn't hire Pujols anyway. I don't know what necessarily he can bring just because he's a great player. I never saw him as like this guy. Oh, I would want to manage my team. You know, there are certain players you could see that. He's just not one of them. So I'd much rather have like a catcher who is a good defensive catcher, good game caller like Kurt Suzuki than an Albert Pujols.
Okay. So we're going to do something a little different. I don't know if you saw it. I have a ton of notes here. I sent it to you right before we started doing some of the things that we did prior to the podcast. As we're really expanding this network. We're looking at different graphics. We're going to get Cheese on here, switching him over to the All Gloves Off sports media platform. I can't wait for that to happen. That should be happening here within the next 3-5 days, something like that, buddy.
Within the next 48 hours.
No, the next 48 hours. Look at you.
Maybe less. It will look so different. It's not just going to be, you'll see, everyone. Just check out my videos, my channel. I haven't released one since Sunday because we're switching over, but just follow me at Football with Cheese, CHEZ, on YouTube.
All right, fantastic, buddy. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the Dodgers and the Blue Jays position by position. Mm-hmm. So for the hitters, I used WAR, number of home runs, and batting average.
Okay. And
for the pitchers, I used a WAR because I really like the WAR stat. We'll explain that here in a moment. Okay. I did wins, losses, ERAs, and strikeouts. So I have all of those stats for all 25 players, and we're basically going to say who's the better catcher, who's the better first baseman, who's the better second baseman. I've got the book right here. I've got the pen in this hand. We're going to go whoop, whoop, and check them all off, and then we're going to use that to decide who is going to win the World Series. So here we go, Cheese. Let's look at the catcher position first.
Real quick, some of these are harder than I thought. Some of these are really tough. But anyway, go ahead.
Yes, they really, really are. We may have a little bit of discussion on some of these here. So, yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you guys have done a really great job on the comments today. We've had probably 20 or 30 of them, so keep them coming. If you disagree with something we're about to say on one of these, maybe it's going to be Will Smith
or agree.
Alejandro Kirk.
Maybe they agree too. They could agree with me.
Agree.
They might disagree with you, but they could agree with me.
Oh, okay. It's the shirt, right? It's that bright orange Bengals shirt you got on tonight, right?
Well, they did win.
They
The
did.
Cardinals didn't win.
Now, you know what? Now, remind me to give you your to give you and your Packers, because we didn't make a bet.
We did. You're paying for. We did. If the Packers make the Super Bowl, you're paying all expense trip for me to San Francisco, right? Right?
Maybe.
Anyway, I'm just kidding. I made that up.
Ugh.
I totally just made that up, everybody. I put him
What
on
are you
this
doing?
because
I'm never
the
gonna be
Cardinals
able-
aren't going to the Super Bowl. But
Oh,
no, I'll say this: Packers did beat your two teams, but they beat backup quarterbacks. So I mean, it's not like they didn't go against Kyler Murray or Joe Burrow. So I'll say that.
well, I think they probably would have beat the Cardinals worse if they'd have went against Kyler Murray, but that's for a later discussion. So
We will talk.
All right,
I'll tell you
Jesse.
what, we'll talk about that next week. We'll talk about that next week.
okay,
Because I do
sounds
want
good.
to talk about it. Okay.
Let's look at the catcher position. Will Smith against Alejandro Kirk. So Will Smith's WAR is 4.5. Kirk's is 2.3. Smith hit 17 home runs. Kirk hit 15 home runs. And the batting average for Will Smith's 296, and for Alejandro Kirk, it's 282. So what are you going to go with? You're going to go with Smith or Kirk?
I'm going to go with the guy that slapped Chris Rock. Wait, is it the same guy?
No, same
Oh.
name, just not the same guy.
Okay. Well, Will Smith,
Okay, so Will Smith.
Fresh Prince himself. Who we got?
Freddie Freeman versus Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Oh, is just me going? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I agree with you. I agree with Will Smith. If I disagree with you, I'll chime in.
Vlad. Got to go with Vlad. I think Freddie Freeman's a little better defensively, but yeah, Vlad Guerrero Jr. I cannot pick against him.
Okay, now wait. Let's listen about stats here first. So, I went through all these stats. Let me talk, okay? So Freddie Freeman has a 3.5 WAR. Vlad has a 4.5 WAR. Freddie Freeman has 24 home runs. Vladimir Guerrero had 23. And these are all regular season stats, by the way. We're not counting postseason in any of these stats. And Freddie Freeman, 295 hitter. Vladimir Guerrero, a 292 hitter. These two guys were a lot closer than what I thought they would be, to be very honest with you. But I'm going to pick Vladimir Guerrero Jr. What about you? Said Vlad?
I love Freddie Freeman. Don't get me wrong. He's a clutch player. He's a very good player. But the way Vlad Guerrero is playing, I mean, he's just playing out of this world. 2 strikeouts in the whole series. Crazy. So give me Vlad.
Okay. The second baseman. Talk about two people who are almost identical. Tommy Edman, second baseman for the Dodgers. Andres Jimenez, second baseman for the Toronto Blue Jays. Edman, 1.1 WAR. Jimenez, 1.1 WAR. Edman, 13 home runs. Jimenez, 7. Edman, a 225 batting average, and Jimenez is a 210 batting average. But I know I didn't use this metric, but if you put their defense in here, Jimenez blows Edman away.
That was what I was going to say. I picked Jimenez because of defense, so I would take Jimenez.
All right. So the Blue Jays are actually up 2-1 right now. It's interesting.
Correct.
Here's another one that's really, really interesting. The shortstop position. Mookie Betts versus Bo Bichette, who is going to play, by the way. They announced he will be in the lineup beginning game 1. So Mookie Betts has a 4.8 WAR. Bo has a 3.4. Betts has 23 home runs, and Bichette has 18. Mookie Betts is batting 258, while Bo Bichette's batting 311. So a pretty big difference in home runs, a pretty big difference in WAR, but also a pretty big difference in batting average that sways toward Bo Bichette. Which one are you going to pick here? Mookie Betts, Bo Bichette, Cheese?
Mookie's a much better defensive player, too. He just unbelievable. He can go from right field to shortstop and actually play a good defensive shortstop. So I got to go Mookie.
Okay. We're going Mookie.
2-2.
So now we're tied.
Okay.
Third base, Mac Muncy, Addison Barger. Now, I do know that Clement has played most of the third base for Toronto lately, but we were going as far as the season goes. So Max Muncy at third base is a 3.6 WAR. Barger is a 1.2. Huge difference there. 10 home runs from Muncy, but 21 for Addison Barger. And each of them, this is crazy how these stats are just so pinpoint on each one. Max Muncy's batting 243 for the regular season. Addison Barger's batting 243 for the regular season. Crazy how some of this stuff works out. So are you going to take the home run guy or the wins above replacement guy, which is what WAR stands for?
Do you have defensive stats on them, by the way?
I don't.
I don't either. I don't. I just knew the defensive stats on the shortstops, but Muncy got off to. Didn't he get off to like a horrible start this year? Then came on.
He did.
Yeah, I'll take Muncy because I think he got off to a bad start. I think he's a little bit better.
Okay, to me, honestly, that's a kind of a toss-up. So whoever you were going to pick, I was going to go with. Michael Conforto in left field, Davis Schneider in left field. Conforto, a negative 0.7 WAR with 20 home runs and a 199 batting average, while Schneider has a 1.3 WAR, 11 home runs, and a 234 batting average. You've got to pick Schneider over Conforto, right?
I'm going to go with Kyle Tucker. Oh, wait, sorry. It's not 2026. Sorry.
No.
Not 2026. It will be Kyle Tucker next year with the Dodgers when they give him $400 million. Yeah, I'm going with Schneider.
Okay.
3-3?
3-3. Yeah, it's interesting here. Center field, Andy Pages and Dalton Varsho. Pages, 3.8 WAR, 27 home runs, a 272 batting average, which honestly was better than I thought it was going to be. He's been a better player for them than I was going to give him credit for had I not looked at his stats.
He's been playing well.
Dalton Varsho, a 2.8 WAR with 20 home runs and a 238 batting average. I would have thought, without looking at stats, that Varsho was going to blow this away. But his stats really lean toward Andy Pages.
I'm going
Experience or Pages?
I'm going Pages. He's been playing really well.
He has.
So I'm going to go Pages. Yeah.
All right.
That was tough. That one I thought a lot about, but I'll go with Pages.
All right. Teoscar Hernandez and Nathan Lukes. They're the right fielders for each respective team. The WAR for Hernandez 1.5, for Lukes 1.9, 25 home runs for Teoscar and 12 for Nathan, and 247 batting average for Hernandez and a 255 for Lukes. So Lukes has a little better wins above replacement, but not as many home runs, and they're both batting about the same as far as average goes. So again, it's a power guy or a win above replacement guy.
God, I don't know. Oh, this is
and
tough.
Nathan Lukes is much better defensively than Teoscar Hernandez.
Okay, well, now that I know that, I'll take Lukes because otherwise it's pretty much a coin flip. So I'll give me Lukes, and we 4-4.
We are.
We're 4-4, but we're not done.
The designated hitter is going to be closer than most of you think. Ohtani. Okay. Yes, he has a 6.6 WAR with 55 home runs and a 282 batting average. But George Springer is really not that far behind. A 4.8 WAR with 32 home runs and a 309 batting average. As much as I hate to say it, I've got to go with Ohtani, but I didn't think that Springer was that close to him.
Springer had a good year, and he had one of the most clutch hits in postseason memory. But yeah, got to go Ohtani. You just have to, unfortunately.
All right, so we'll go with Ohtani. So the Dodgers have a one-person lead right at the moment. Now let's look at their starting rotation. And we're not going to go individual by individual. I'm going to give you some stats, and then we're going to say we're going to take the entirety of the Dodgers rotation or the entirety of the Blue Jays rotation, all right, to kind of cut down on time a little bit here. So Yamamoto, Glasnow, Ohtani, and Kershaw were the four that I picked for Toronto, because they're not going to do a fifth starter with as many off days and stuff like that we have in the World Series. So we're only going to do four. And then over on the Toronto side, you got Gausman, Bassett, Barrios, and Scherzer. So Yamamoto has a 5 WAR. Gausman matches up with him, has a 3.8. Glasnow has a 1.9, but Bassett has a little better at a 2.1. Ohtani only has a 1.1, and Barrios actually has a higher WAR at 1.3. And Kershaw has a 1.6, and if you're going to match him up with Scherzer, because of no more than he's pitched this year, only has a 0.2 WAR. So the most wins, Yamamoto at 12. The most wins over in Toronto is 10. But then Bassett has 11 wins, and Kershaw has 11 wins. You've got Glasnow only has 4 wins. Ohtani only has 1 win. but you've got 9 for Barrios and 5 for Scherzer. So that means 21, 30, 35 wins for the Toronto Blue Jays and 28 wins for the Dodgers. So there's a pretty big win gap there between the two of them. Losses are the same kind of way. Total 14 losses for those 4 starters in LA. And let's see, the losses kind of pile up over here. 30 losses for Toronto. ERAs go 249, 319, 287, and 336 for the Dodgers. And the ERAs for the Blue Jays are 359, 396, 417, and 519. So the ERAs are a little high for the Toronto Blue Jays. Ks, Yamamoto beats everybody, 201. The next one on the list would be Gausman at 189. The next one would be Bassett at 166. The next one would be another Toronto Blue Jays pitcher at 138. And then you would have Glasnow, Kershaw, Scherzer, and Ohtani. But Ohtani hasn't pitched a whole lot, and neither has Scherzer. So, it's kind of a toss-up as far as the starters go. Which side do you think you want to go with, buddy? You want to go with Toronto, or do you want to go with the Dodgers?
Well, I mean, Blake Snell take Kershaw out and put Blake Snell in. I mean, Blake Snell has been, he's their number one starter. He gave up six innings, 1 hit, no runs against the Phillies, 8 innings, 1 hit, no runs against the Brewers. He's been unhittable, his former Cy Young winner. So I'll say that. I mean, obviously you take the Dodgers. I mean, their 1 through 4 is as good as I've seen since maybe the 90s Braves. But I'll say this, though. The Blue Jays, looking at those ERAs, those pitchers are better than that. I think they've been pitching better than that. So I think that group, ERA is kind of one of those, you can get some bad luck. You could just, it's sometimes your ERA is a run or half run higher than it should be. And from what I've seen of Blue Jays pitchers, I think they're better than that, but you got to take the Dodgers.
And then, we went into this World Series saying, oh, you've got to have a strong bullpen in order to get to the World Series. Well, both these bullpens are pretty bad, to be really honest with you. I mean, when
they haven't had that, it hasn't hurt them, though.
It hasn't really hurt them yet. But I think you're going to see a lot of runs given up late in most of these games. So, if one of these teams jumps out to a lead, I think that either one of these teams could come back on them, because both these teams have great offenses and not very good bullpens. Tanner Scott with a negative 0.6 WAR. Dreyer's got a 1.3. Banda has a 0.9. Vesia, who's been their best pitcher, has a 1.1, and Yates has a negative 0.5. Now,
Yates and Scott were their big free agents. They were huge. Everyone wanted those two players. Yeah.
I agree. I was wanting my teams to get a hold of one of those guys as well. Yeah. Hoffman has kind of righted the ship here as of late. He's got 84 Ks, which is the most of anybody on this list, with the exception of Little, who was also a Toronto Blue Jays reliever. He has 91. Rodriguez has 65. Fluharty has 56, and Fisher has 62. So a lot more strikeouts, a lot better WAR. The ERAs are comparable, and the win-losses are comparable. So I don't know about you, but neither bullpen's great, but I'm going to pick Toronto's bullpen.
Brendan Little, I'm telling you, he is, if it matters, if it comes down to it, he's going to blow it. He's the guy you don't want to be in with a tie game in the 7th inning. He's going to blow it. If he's up 3 or down 3, he'll be fine. But Little, it just seems like, my friend Fries is a Blue Jay fan. I was messaging him the other day when he blew it, and I believe it was, game 6.
Yes.
Little, he didn't give up the grand slam, but he caused all the problems. I said, yes. Little, you cannot trust him. So, neither bullpen is. Well, Sasaki, you have to say Sasaki's part of the Dodger bullpen as well.
You do. I mean, that's not been his role.
Right. But there's a reason why that he's in the bullpen now. They need help. So I think it's a push, to be honest with you. I think it's a push.
Okay. Well, I'm going to overrule you and give it to the Toronto Blue Jays.
Okay, we'll go with Toronto.
So if you do it that way, it's 6-5 in favor of the Dodgers. So, my point with this exercise is it's a lot closer than what people think it's going to be. I think a lot of people are thinking the Dodgers are just going to come right in here and run roughshod over the Blue Jays, and I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to be a really good. I mean, these were not the teams that I wanted to see in this, to be very honest with you. But now that we've got these two teams, and I'm looking at stats, and I'm doing all of this comparative analysis, I think it's going to be a better World Series than what I thought it was going to be. Kind of just looking at it, I really wanted the Mariners to get in there, and to be honest, I wanted it to be the Mariners and the Brewers, because neither of those guys have ever won a World Series. So I wanted to see a first-time World Series champion. We didn't get that. This is the matchup we got. Let's just go with it and see what happens.
Well, 2 points. The Blue Jays have a much better lineup than the Brewers. Much better lineup. So they're going to be able to score more runs. So you're not going to get a series like we just saw in the LCS. Second of all, I mean, who predicted a Dodgers Blue Jays World Series? Let me think. Oh, look. Was it this guy? Yes, it was.
Do you think the big layoff for the Dodgers is going to hurt them?
Just saying. That's what I predicted. I'm going to keep bringing that up.
And your head's getting really large.
Well, I was plugging Toronto a couple of months back, so I think it could in game one. I think game one it could. Other than that, it won't. Toronto comes out. They could look flat, their bats in game one, possibly. But after that, it won't matter. What do you think?
I think you're probably right. I mean, I don't know what they've been doing. I wish I knew what have they been practicing against another team? Have they been playing against their AAA guys? Have they brought people in from another organization? I don't know what they've been doing. But I assume they're not just taking the time off and just kind of hanging out. So I don't know. I just think it kills momentum when you have this much time off, and it might take you a game or two to get that momentum back. But that also might be all Toronto needs, is that game or two edge on the Dodgers, and they can, they get out to a 1-0 or a 2-0 game lead, and it's hard to come back from that. Last question I've got for you on this. I'm going to tell you that, I'm not a big Dodger fan. I don't like them. I do like the Max Muncy story. If you don't know much about him, how he got basically tossed away from the Oakland A's and then the Dodgers picked him up. But there is a guy who I really love on Toronto, and there's a guy that I really don't like on Toronto. So I'm not sure which team I really even want to win this, right? I love Vladimir Guerrero. I would love to see him give the ring to his dad, like he said in the interview last week that he wants to do. But at the same point, man, if I was on the mound, I think I'd smack George Springer with as hard a fastball as I could throw right at his head.
Oh my gosh.
I just don't like the guy. I don't like the whole Houston Astro thing. I don't like the fact that he got the MVP of that series when he was basically the best cheater on the field. I don't know. I guess I'm harboring some feelings for it.
Every team does it. Every team does it. They got caught, man.
Just because they got caught doesn't make it right, though.
It doesn't. But I'm just saying every team does some. You can go on videos and just do it. You can see every team tapping your head. You can see first base coaches seeing a grip by a left-handed pitcher, or third base coach right-handed pitcher. You can see them touching their shoulder, doing some tap, and the hitter sees that. Like, everyone does some kind of cheating. Everybody does it. And that's what I say. Everybody who says, oh, the Astros are the evil, they're so evil for doing it. It's like everybody does it. They got caught. Just saying.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that you live in Texas, though, does it?
Hey, I'm a Cubs and Braves fan.
Okay.
I do enjoy going to Houston Astro games, though.
It's a nice stadium. I've been there once.
I wish it was still called Minute Maid. Now it's called like Dakin Park or something like that. It's just stupid. Yeah, it's a lot of fun to go there.
It is. It really is. I love the tradition they've got out there in the bullpen where they throw the I don't know if you've ever sat out there in the bullpen, but they were throwing gum into the stands with the kids and all that. That was pretty neat. So I went to a game there once and lost my wife. Maybe that's a story I'll tell some other time. But,
did you find a new wife though?
No, I didn't. She eventually told me.
Okay, good.
It was in the car after the game was done, and
okay.
Yeah, it went all bad.
You lost her, but you found her. You didn't have to get a new wife. Okay, good.
Yes, no, I didn't have to get a new one. She wouldn't have let me do that anyway. All right, buddy. Hey, I'm about to turn everything over to you. The Lights Out Sports podcast is now going to go NFL with my buddy Cheese. And here we go with NFL Talk with Cheese. All right, buddy. So the show is yours. You do the NFL stuff. Tell me, what do we have on tap for everybody in this segment of the show?
So the NFC is 25-13 against the AFC this season. That includes the Browns beating the Packers, where the Packers blew it, and the Titans beating the Cardinals, where the Cardinals gave them the game. So where both teams had less than 2% chance of winning at one point in the fourth quarter. So really, it should be 27-11. But anyway, that's the second and third in the NFL and lowest win percentage this season. We'll talk about the lowest in a second, but
Okay.
the NFC has 8 teams of the 16 with 2 or fewer losses, while the AFC has 8 teams with 4 or more losses. What do you make of this?
You threw a lot of stats out there, and I'm a stat guy. I mean, what do I make of it?
Like, do you have thoughts? I mean, is there a theory? Do you have thoughts? Do you think? What is your overall? I want to keep this open in case there's anything specific you want to talk about.
I think there's a lot of haves and have-nots this year. There seems to be several really good teams, and there seems to be several really bad teams, and not a lot in between. And that's kind of my overall thought process on it.
I agree with that. And the league is designed for this not to happen. And
Yes.
it comes down to bad ownership and bad drafting. I think you have the general managers that draft the wrong guys. And you have teams that, like the Eagles and the Buccaneers and teams that draft well, and they're usually good every year. And then you have teams like the New York Jets that, and the Las Vegas Raiders that just draft poorly every year. And it shouldn't happen. The way the league is designed, bad teams pick higher. But I agree with that. But the NFC being that record, that did surprise me. I didn't realize it was that different. There are a few AFC teams that are really underachieving, though. So the top 8 seeds in NFC are decided by a half game, with the Packers in first place.
Did you say the top 8?
Top 8.
So 1 through 8 is only a half game. The first one and the 8th one are only a half game apart.
Half game apart.
That's
Packers
wild.
are 4-1-1. They're in first place in the NFC. Bears are in 8th at 4-2. 7 teams make the playoffs. So the Bears at 4-2 would not make the playoffs, even though they're 4-2. That's what's going on in the NFC. Like you said, have and have nots. And that doesn't include these teams: Minnesota Vikings, Atlanta Falcons, Washington Commanders, who all 3 fan bases and teams in general expected to make the playoffs before the season started. That's crazy. Here's what worries me, though, about that stat. That teams may use this to try to expand the playoffs. For example, what if 6 teams win at least 11 games and then there are 4 teams for the 7th spot win 10 games? So there's 4, 10, and 7 teams. But through a tiebreak, one of them gets to make the playoffs as the last wild card, and the other 3 don't. So it's all based on a tiebreak. That's what worries me. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, like we said, there's the have and have nots this year. And doesn't that kind of contribute, first of all, to why we can have so many teams win so much? Is because they just beat the sisters of the poor all the time. I mean, you and I were texting each other back and forth in the early games on Sunday. It's like, oh my gosh, which one of these pitiful games do I want to watch? I mean, they were awful games.
Yeah.
All of them. And then it seemed like all the better games were the late games. So That's the first thing I'll say is, that's why we're going to have a bunch of 10 and 11 win teams, because you're also going to have a bunch of 3 and 4 win teams.
Maybe a lot of 1 and 2 win teams.
Yeah. I mean, I was trying to be nice,
bad.
but yeah.
Well, it just worries me. You remember it was 6 teams each league made the playoffs, and you awarded the top 2 teams with a bye. And when they added a team, the 2 seed now doesn't get a bye. So if you expand the playoffs, which a lot of teams that win 10 games they just missed, the owners might say, no, we need to expand the playoffs. Then all of a sudden the number 1 seed's not getting a bye, and we're not rewarding the regular season. And then the bye goes away. Shouldn't you reward the regular season? Shouldn't there be more of a reward? I think there should be.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you've worked 17 weeks to get that record. It shouldn't just vanish in the week of the playoffs.
Yeah, and you might have a situation where the 1 seed, say they add another playoff team, so there's 8 in each league. The 1 plays 8 first round. You might have a team that goes 15-2 playing a 9-8 team, and that's a 6-game difference. And even though the 9-8 team has to go on the road, they're still on equal footing minus that. There's no other incentive. So it just worries me a little bit with these have and have nots. But okay. So we have to talk about the Broncos-Giants game. I don't know if you were able to catch it, but the Broncos somehow beat the Giants despite being down 19-0 entering the fourth quarter and down 26-8 with 10 minutes to go. The Broncos scored 0 points in the first 3 quarters and 33 points in the fourth quarter. There's so much more. With 6:38 to go in the game, according to Next Gen Stats, the Broncos were facing a 4th and 3 and had a 0.7% chance to win the game. Here's the breakdown of everything that happened for the Giants.
Yeah.
Ready? Most of this involves Jackson Dart, the rookie quarterback. He threw a pick up 10 with 5 minutes to go, leading to a Broncos touchdown. The next drive, he had a guy wide open on 3rd down. He completely missed him. It was just under 3 minutes to go, and they were up 3. Next drive, when they were down 4, he has a 2nd and 14. He had Jalen Hyatt wide open deep. He missed him. They did convert a 4th and 19, so I'll give him that on that drive. He throws a dropped interception, so he got lucky there. So Jonathan Gannon, the head coach of Arizona Cardinals, is he saying, hold my beer after losing the Titans?
Well, he's saying hold my something. I'm not sure if it's beer or not. I don't know. This has been a crazy NFL season. Like I said, we had a lot of different things happen on our X account. I asked earlier, would the Monday night game between the Lions and the Buccaneers have a total score of over 50 points? No one said no. Everybody said yes, and it didn't turn out to be that way.
33 points, I think.
Yes. Then we looked at those games as they were going on. We were each watching the Cardinals and the Packers game. Of course, that was kind of the lead game for both of us because it's the teams that we each root for. But all of those other games were going on, and it was a madhouse. I found myself flipping back and forth and trying to figure it all out. And then, of course, you don't know what a catch is right now. I mean, there's so many things going on in the NFL. It's absolutely insane.
More on the catch. I think that's what video we're going to do together.
Yes.
If you're Travis Kelce, it doesn't matter. He can hit the ground and move. It doesn't matter if you're a Chiefs receiver. But yeah, so this game, it basically, I thought the Arizona Cardinal loss to the Titans was the worst loss I've seen. And this may be worse. I cannot believe they both happened within a month of each other. There's more.
Oh, but wait.
Well, we need to talk more about it. I mean, do you blame the head coach, Giants coach Brian Daboll? Do you blame him for this loss? Do you think he should have coached up Jackson Dart? He's a rookie quarterback, to be more careful. Do you think he should have been more conservative?
No, I really don't. I mean, I kind of like, so that's what their identity is right at the moment, right? That's, they've got a guy in Cam Scatterboo who we both love that's just willing to run people over. And they've got a guy back there in Jackson Dart who I know you weren't extremely high on coming out of the draft. I think he's outperformed what you thought he would, but at the same point, he's not the most accurate guy down the field, and he kind of proved that in that game too. So, you've got, I don't know how long Cam Scatterboo can make it in the league the way he runs. I mean, I don't know if you saw the play where he went in the end zone and he waited 3 yards till he got in the end zone. Then he put his head down and still smacked another player. And it's like, man, you already scored the touchdown. What are you doing? But it's just the way he plays the game.
Yes.
It's borderline reckless, but it's fun to watch.
You've seen him do interviews. He's just very focused. Like, I'm just going to do this. Like, he's not intellectual. He is football thinking. He said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this way. This is what I know. Like, he is football. And he's never going to change. And he shouldn't. All these teams passed on him. He went to the 4th round. You and I, if we were GMs, we would have taken him the 2nd round. Both. We were all over this. If you watch our videos of draft, all these teams passed on me. You saw my post-draft videos we talked about on the podcast. Like, I'm just like, what are you doing? All these running backs going before him. It's just crazy. But also my pre-draft videos, you mentioned something about I was not high on Dart. Yeah, my problem with Dart was not athleticism, not his arm, not the tools. It was he was not accurate down the field. After 15 yards, his accuracy just absolutely dipped. And I still remember the Florida game. He was awful in that game. And he was so inaccurate downfield. He threw pointless interceptions, and he was not good in the clutch. If they win that game, they're in the college football playoff. And that's what worried me. I still remember that game. And it wasn't just that game. There are other games too. But anyone that wanted to use a 1st-round pick on Jackson Dart, I would have said, well, you just watch the Florida game because he looks like a undrafted free agent. So, yeah, just want to mention that.
I'm going to stop you for just a second. So Matt Leinart was a guy that the Arizona Cardinals took a while back, right? And they were trying to do the whole throw downfield. Let's do 40, 50-yard bombs. That's not Matt Leinart's game, right? Yeah. Matt Leinart is a lot like Jackson Dart, that intermediate 8 to 15-yard, and he can put it on a dime. He can put that thing in the really small, tight window. Mm-hmm. When you draft somebody, whether it be Cam Scatterboo, he's not always going to break it, right? Cam Scatterboo is more there's 4 yards there. It's 4th and 4, son. Here's the football. Go smash some people and get me 4 yards, right? Jackson Dart's kind of the same way. What his niche is. So wouldn't you design an offense if you're the Giants around these two players, a guy that, okay, so you don't throw in 30-yard or 40-yard bombs. That's fine. You can still get a touchdown 10, 12 yards at a time, right? So why wouldn't you design your offense around those two guys?
Well, you have to take some shots to keep the defense honest, but you make a good point. They throw deep a lot, and they were throwing deep a lot because they had Malik Neighbors. Even without him, once he got hurt, they're still throwing deep a lot. Mm-hmm. Just because he has a big arm doesn't mean you need to chuck it down the field. I'll say this, in the 90s, Brett Favre, the Packers didn't throw deep a lot. He had the best arm in the game during the time. Well, maybe Jeff George, but let's not talk about Jeff George. But Brett Favre, they actually had a short to intermediate passing game under Mike Holmgren. And I think one of the reasons they did that is because Brett Favre would just, if it was a downfield, he just Johnny Gunslinger. He was throwing more interceptions than he would have. They knew the player. He's going to throw too many interceptions if we go downfield. So that is a really good point you made there. And that wasn't in the notes. Very good. That was awesome. Let's talk about Brian Daboll a little more, coach the Giants.
Sure.
So they're up 19-0. They scored a touchdown. It was 13-0. They go up 19-0. Mm-hmm. He goes for 2, trying to make it 21-0 in the 3rd quarter. And they don't get it. Okay. So then the Broncos go down and get a touchdown early 4th quarter. and it's 19-6, so they go for 2, make it 19-8. Okay. If Dayball had kicked it, it would have been 20-0. And then the Broncos, when they got their touchdown, would have kicked the extra point. They wouldn't have gone for 2. They wouldn't have tried to cut it to 11. They would have cut it to 13. So the game, instead of 19-8, would have been 20-7 because he went for 2, up 19-0.
Yeah.
The Giants lost the game 33-32. They lost by 1 point. Do you think coaches go for 2-point conversions too soon?
I think he did. I'm not going to say every coach does, but the momentum was what changed in that game at that point, right? You gave the Denver Broncos a sliver of hope, right? You allowed one of their players to put their foot in the door when you were trying to shut it. Just kick the field goal and shut the door. But no, you want to get cute. You want to get, and I'll tell you another USC and Notre Dame game. Okay, I know we're going to, revert back to college football for a moment, but there was a play, I believe it was in the third quarter, where USC was coming back and they were starting to gain that momentum. And then they tried to get cute and they did this reverse thing where they gave it to the receiver, and the receiver had, if you watch it, I watched it 4 or 5 times back, and I'm like, what are you people doing? He had it. I talked to my USC guy at work today. I was like, he had it in his right arm the entire time. Like he wasn't even trying to cradle it like he was going to run. He had it like he was going to throw it the entire time. Every lineman there knew he was going to throw that ball. And then I'm sure you know the play, what I'm talking about. What ends up happening? He gets tackled. Then he loses the ball. And now the momentum shifts back to Notre Dame, and it just went bad from there. The car drove him right down the field. You gave them a sliver of hope. It's the same thing. Why? Not necessarily chasing points, but you gave them hope. You say it a lot about your Green Bay Packers. Put your foot on their throat and push down till they can't breathe anymore. Don't give them any air.
Really wanted USC. You were calling it. You wanted USC to win that game. I can tell.
I did kind of. Yeah. I'm not a big Notre Dame guy, so.
I'm not either. Trust me, I'm not either. I get it.
And they were. They were building momentum. They were coming back, and then they had to get cute.
I agree. Momentum is a good point, but to me, it's just like when you're ahead by that much, take the point. Like you don't know what's going to happen. You can't. Okay, they want to go up 3 touchdowns and 3 extra points, right? Yes. That's fine. You don't know that they're going to score that, and you might score more points. You might get another field goal. Which means that you're up 24-0 instead of 23. Like, there's no reason at that point, third quarter, to leave points on the table. Take the point. I thought it was a terrible move at the time. I remember watching it, and it ended up being the difference in the game because Denver wouldn't have gone for 2. So you took away a point, and then gave Denver a point, and that flipped the whole game. So
well, they missed another extra point too, right? If I remember correctly, didn't they miss a second extra point later? Or not?
I believe they did. The Giants, I believe they did. Yeah. So maybe he didn't trust the kicker. Yeah, I believe they did.
That's what I was going to kind of bring up. Is that maybe he didn't trust his kicker?
I think he did. Yep. Okay. Last NFL point.
Sure.
All right. Why does Bo Nix, the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, why does he suck for 3 quarters and only pull out in the 4th quarter? He did it against the Giants. He did it against the Eagles. He just finds it in the clutch, but he just doesn't. He gets off these worst starts. What's going on with that?
I don't know what's going on with that, but again, this great football. I mean, this is why I love Baker Mayfield right now. Baker Mayfield is the same kind of way, right? He seems to, of course, now Denver's got some more weapons than, I mean, the walking wounded over there in Tampa Bay, for God's sake. But I don't know exactly why he gets off to bad starts. I mean, so I want to bring this point up to you because I was looking at your notes earlier and I thought about this. We both know, most of our fans know, the first, 15, 20 plays are scripted. So that's coaching, right? The coach says, okay, so against this defense, this is what we need to do to come out and score first and take the lead and yada, yada, yada. So does that mean that it's poor coaching in the beginning, or is it really Bo Nix's fault?
It's hard to argue against Sean Payton.
I know.
He's a really good coach. He is. He's a very good coach.
But it's not like it's only happened one game.
Sometimes guys are jacked up and you know, game starts and they're not like they're too jacked up and they miss guys, but that's usually like a drive or two. But it just seems like he just does not get going till late in the game. And they were down 20-3 in the second half to the Eagles. Obviously, this game he was down. They scored 33 points to win 33-32 in the fourth. They are so close to 3-4. They're 5-2. They're so close to 3-4. You can't keep doing it. I guess it works against NFC East teams, but you cannot keep doing. I just realized that's 2 more wins the NFC should have had against the AFC. It should be 29-9, but you can't. That's not sustainable. We both agree that we were both high on Denver going the season. They're a very good team, but you cannot keep doing this. Bo Nix has got to figure out. He's got to play better early on, or they're not going to be a contender this year.
I would agree with that. I'm not sure how you change it, but I agree with it. I mean, what can Sean Payton do?
Well, he started slow last year. It was more games than quarters, and he finished strong. So just I don't know. He's just got to start better. We'll see what happens.
I mean, you're the analytic guy. You're the guy who watches all this all the time. Does Bo Nix do better when they roll him out? I mean, should they do stuff like that and get him out of the pocket? Is he better when he steps up in the pocket? I mean, what seems to be the better or the best scenario for Bo?
In the pocket or out of the pocket early in games, he's still missing some guys by 3 or 4 yards. There's still times where he way overthrows a guy. And I think he likes to get outside the pocket, but I haven't looked at the analytics. I'm sure that he's better at one than the other. Almost every quarterback is, but to me, it's just doesn't get going till at least the third quarter and sometimes the fourth quarter, and then he plays amazing. And I don't know what it is, but he has been really inaccurate at times in the first half of games this year, and not missing a guy by a yard or two. There are games where he's throwing like 5 throws where he misses guys by 3 or 4 yards. So he's just, but then in the fourth quarter, he'll put it on the guy's hands. He has some throws that look amazing. Like he hit a touchdown earlier this season to Cortland Sutton. It was like the perfect throw. Like he was so well covered. He put it on his hands, like 41 yards down the field. It was amazing. He's just not consistent. And especially early in games, he's got to figure that out, how to fix that.
Okay. Maybe they will go to the Super Bowl before it's all said and done. If he can figure that out.
Yeah. If every quarter is the fourth quarter, they're probably the best team in the AFC.
True.
Because they have a good defense.
They do. All right. So you got anything else for us in the football deal, or are we going to go to our lights out list?
I'll just say this. How about next week we do mid-season awards?
Oh.
We're about halfway through the year next year. We'll pick our mid-season awards and see if we agree with our preseason awards. I might agree on maybe one. Mine.
We just said it. This has been a crazy NFL season.
Yes.
I mean, who would have thought that the Bengals and the Ravens would have a total of 4 wins between them?
Yeah, and who knew the Colts would be the best record in the NFL?
Right.
So,
and what's his name there? The quarterback for the Colts better hurry up and sign an extension before the pumpkin smashes.
Yep, before it turns to midnight.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, we did a Cinderella reference, I think.
Yes, we did.
There you go. Very good.
Yeah. I kind of look like Gus, but okay, we'll do a Cinderella reference.
I wasn't going to say it.
Oh, well, that's okay. You make fun of yourself. It doesn't hurt as bad, sir. So, all right, man. We are going to jump into the lights out list. It's our own kind of a top 10 thing, but we call it the lights out list because it allows us to do some things that aren't maybe always top 10. Maybe we do some things that are bottom 10. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a bottom 10. And here we go. This list.
I'm limbering up.
Okay.
Get ready.
This list should be pretty interesting. I think it's going to involve pretty much the same teams, but the order, maybe not.
I think I have a few that you're not going to pick.
Okay. Well, this will be interesting because I also need to go over to our Twitter account because we put a poll question up there.
Oh, yeah.
And for those of you who are on our account right now, you know what's crazy about our account right now? So I have it streaming on the All Gloves Off Sports Media Twitter, and you have it streaming on your Twitter, which is what again, sir?
At Football Cheese, football and then
Okay.
CHEZ. Also, my YouTube channel is at Football with Cheese.
Okay. So we've got it on both of those channels, and the podcast on All Gloves Off is number 2, and the same podcast on your channel is number 3. So we're just we're filling them all up, buddy. We're filling them all up today. All right, let me turn this music down just a
No,
tad
and number
here.
1 is probably Taylor Swift. She's probably
Yeah. Tay-Tay.
I hate her.
Oh, man. All right, so let's go over to the poll question, and let's see what everybody is doing. We'll get the results here in just a moment. So about 100 people have looked at this. We've got some good voting here. It's tonight on the Lights Out Sports Podcast. We're going to conclude our show, which we're doing right now, with the Lights Out list. It's our version of the top 10 list. This week, it'll be the bottom 10 current NFL teams by myself and, of course, some guy named @FootballCheese. Will your team make the list? And who should be number 32? And we gave our listening audience or viewing audience these 4 choices: the Titans, the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Raiders. And before we do our number 32 team, we'll check back with these guys and find out what their 32nd team is. All right, so let's start with number 23, right? So we'll go 23 down to 32. Is that all right with you, buddy?
Yeah, we start
Okay.
with 10. The worst team, is last.
Yeah, and then we'll go all the way down to the worst team. So you're going to go first, or you want me to go first?
What do you think? I'll let you pick.
I'm going to go first. I'm going to take this one. All right?
Go ahead. Because
Okay.
I'll say this: I have 2 teams with winning records on this list.
Really?
I do.
This is going to be now.
No.
You also said to me that you picked like all 9 of these like right away, right?
Yes, I wrote. So, well, here's what I did. I do not look at record. I didn't look at analytics. This is eye test. When I do these top 10s, I take I trust what I've seen. So when you sent me this idea, I got a piece of paper and pen, and I wrote down what I thought were the worst teams, and I wrote 9 teams down.
Okay.
And then I had to think about it because, like I said, nothing's in front of me. I had to pick a 10th team, and it took a while to come up because there's a lot of really close ones. So my number 9 is actually the 10th team, not my number 10.
Okay. And we said there's right now in the NFL, there's the haves and the have-nots. So, we might even do something really interesting and try to pick those middle 10 teams before too long. So, I don't know. The Lights Out list allows us to do all kinds of crazy stuff.
Let's not do the middle 10. That's brutal. But no, I picked 2 teams winning records because even though they're winning records, it's just the eye test. It's not, it's not the record or analytics. It's what I've seen so far.
Okay. Well, I
Who's
kind of
your
hope the Steelers are one of them, but we'll see what happens here. Okay.
Unlikely.
So for me, so again, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start with our least worst team, I guess is how you're going to say it, and then we're going to go all the way down to the worst one. So my least worst team, I think, if you look at this team, they are just a few points away from being much better than what their record actually is. We're going to talk about them next week. We're really going to kind of focus in on them. And I don't know. I really need to do this because I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's players. I don't know if it's a combination. I don't know. They've had a backup quarterback the last 2 weeks and they still can't win. They've had their actual quarterback in for the first 4 weeks and haven't really looked very good either. So I'm putting the Arizona Cardinals as my first less worst team. I don't know how to say it.
So I did not have him in my top 10, just because they have lost so many close games.
Mhm.
So even though they're 2-5, they're a few plays away from being 4-3. And
They are.
if they had double teamed Micah Parsons, I don't know if you saw this stat, but 8 times they didn't double team Micah Parsons. 8 times. He had 6 pressures and 3 sacks on those 8 times.
Yeah, he kept running over Noah.
What are you doing?
Fant. I mean, he just
Why are we not double teaming him? It cost you the
took
game.
him something.
8 times, 6 pressures and 3 sacks. Paris
That's what I
Johnson
mean.
and
Is
Jonah
it-
Williams aren't bad tackles, but they cannot block Micah Parsons one-on-one because
Right.
nobody.
And that's what I mean. If you say they're not bad, then is it the player or is it the coaching staff that can't see it and can't change the scheme, or I don't know what it is.
I don't understand it. Same thing with the playoff game. Rams, Eagles last year, divisional round. Jalen Carter wasn't double teamed at the end of the game. They double teamed the whole game, then decided not to at the end. And the Rams had a chance to score. And the Eagles would have been eliminated from the playoffs. And two plays in a row, sack, and then he got the pressure, caused an incompletion.
Mhm.
But just coaching, it's insane. I don't think Sean McVay is a very good coach. Number 10 for me is the Chicago Bears. I know you're
Imagine
shocked.
that.
They have a negative 3-point differential despite being 4-2. They barely beat the Raiders. They just beat the Saints at home. Okay, it was the Saints. But their schedule is brutal over the next 7 games. They started 4-2 last year, and then they became the Bears. So even though they're 4-2, I could see them being 5-8, 6-7 at best, is what I think after the next stretch. So number 10, Chicago Bears.
All right, so I had the Cardinals at 10. I'm going to put the Minnesota Vikings at number 9. Just not impressed with them whatsoever. Now they've got no JJ. They've got a backup quarterback in there, and to be really honest with you, they're the team that I want to see maybe the Cardinals talk to about trading Kyler Murray over to him maybe and get out from underneath that contract. We'll see. But
More on that next week.
More on that next week. But yes, the Minnesota Vikings for me are my next team.
I did not have the Vikings on the list because they did win 14 games last year. Their good is very good. So I know their bads look bad, but I just couldn't put them in my bottom 10. My
Okay.
number 9 is the Houston Texans. I really didn't want to put them on this list. That's the last team I added, but their offensive line is so bad that the rest of the team is suffering because of it. DJ Stroud is suffering. The running game is suffering. The receivers don't have time to get open. It's so bad. And their defense is good. But they can't do anything on offense because of it. So Houston Texans at 2-4 are my number 9.
Interesting. So Cardinals, Vikings, next on the list. We talked about them earlier. It's got one of my favorite new running backs on the team, but they're just not that good yet.
Yeah.
The New York Giants.
More on them in a second.
Okay.
My number 8 is the other team with a winning record. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they started 4-1. However, at the time, they led the league in forced turnovers. They're winning games that way. Also had a favorable schedule. They gave up 14 sacks the last 2 weeks and forced 0 turnovers and lost both games. They basically won because they were forcing turnovers. As soon as they stopped forcing them, and they got killed and embarrassed in London. And Trevor Lawrence just isn't very good. So Jacksonville Jaguars is my number 8 worst team in the NFL.
And I tell you, I thought about Jacksonville, but I didn't because I really like their new head coach. That was the only reason that I didn't put them in my bottom 10. So we've already gone to the Cardinals, the Vikings, the Giants. I can't believe I'm doing this, even though I'm loving every minute of it. The Baltimore Ravens are the next team for me in my bottom 10. I'm grinning from ear to ear on this one, being the Bengals guys. So there might even be another team in that division that's lower than the Baltimore Ravens here later on. We'll get to that too.
I predicted Baltimore to go to the Super Bowl. So I'm shocked. Very shocked. Their schedule was brutal, especially early on, but I expect them to be much better. But injuries have absolutely destroyed them.
Mm-hmm.
And the defense is garbage, absolute garbage.
Yeah.
My number 7, you mentioned them, the New York Giants. They have shown some improvement in some areas. Scatterboo was a great pick. But, I obviously don't believe in Jackson Dart. The offensive line isn't very good. And the pass rush is terrific on defense, but, obviously they have so many other flaws. So number 7, New York Giants.
Okay. So I'm going Cardinals, Vikings, Giants, Ravens, and the other team from that terrible division this year, the Cleveland Browns are next. I love their defense, but they just can't get anything whatsoever going on offense. And when you have a football team and you have 3 phases of it and 2 of them are terrible, they've got to be in your bottom 10.
Yeah, I have the Browns number 6 as well, 6th worst. You said it. That's what I have in my notes pretty much. I mean, they have some great defensive players. Myles Garrett's incredible, but their offense, they have good running backs and good tight ends, but everything else, the offense is a disaster. The receivers, the offensive line, the quarterback situation are a disaster. So they can't score enough to win. And I should have mentioned this last one. I actually didn't put the Ravens in my bottom 10 because they still have a lot of pieces on the team. They still have 2-time MVP. They would have made bottom 15, but I couldn't put them in my bottom 10, even though they're 1 and 5.
So they only have 1 win, right?
I didn't go by wins. I went by the eye test. I know you wanted me to put them. I went by the eye test, but one thing I'll say, it won't be the same order, I'm sure, but our bottom 5 is going to be exactly the same because there's no way those teams are not the bottom 5 for both of us.
Yeah, they're the have-nots,
yes.
Right? We're to the have-nots now. So again, Cardinals, Vikings, Giants, Ravens, Browns, and the top 10 or the top of the have-nots, I guess, for me.
Top 5 worst teams.
Yes. I like their coach. I like some of the players that they have on their team. And in fact, I think they're probably going to trade some of their guys. And you mentioned last week, they're not necessarily trying to win, especially with Spencer Rattler. It's almost like they're trying not to lose. So the Saints come in for me. They're after the Browns in my list.
Yeah, I also have the Saints at 5. I would have had them 1 on this list if we did it before the season. As the worst. I thought they had the worst roster. Their defense has been a little better than expected. Their offense has been a little better than expected. Mm-hmm. Neither has been great, but a little bit better. And Rattler, he just came off a horrible game where I think Dennis Allen, who's now defense coordinator of the Bears, former Saints head coach, threw everything at him. They were sending corner and safety blitzes left and right that game, and it really messed with his head. So he had a bad game, Rattler, finally. But yeah, the Saints, just haven't been quite as bad as expected. So yeah, I have them 5 as well.
All right. So again, I think this team has some talent. Tony Pollard, I watched him. I really thought he did a pretty good job on this past game. I think he's shown himself off a little bit. They just gave Tyler Lockett his release. So a couple of players there who I thought would have been traded anyway. And, now you're almost assuredly that Lockett's going to hook on with another team. And there was a rumor that it was going to be the Giants, but I don't see that. I think he's going to get released and go to a contender, but we'll see how all that works out.
Steelers would make sense.
Steelers would make sense, even though I don't really want to see that because of the division that they're in with my Bengals. But yeah, it does make sense though. So because of the talent that they do have, I went ahead and put, even though they fired their head coach, I put the Tennessee Titans as my 4th worst team in the National Football League right now.
More on them later. I had Bears at number 10. I should have put Bears 5, but whatever. Number 9, I had the Texans. Number 8, Jaguars. Number 7, the Giants. New York Football Giants, not baseball. Number 6, Cleveland Browns. Number 5, Saints. And my number 4 is the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders have some pieces. They have Max Crosby. They have Ashton Gianti. However, Geno Smith has been a disaster. Their offensive line isn't good. The defense, they don't have anybody to cover. So there are some pieces, there are some stars, but overall the roster is just garbage. And why would you hire a 7-3-year-old Pete Carroll? That's just not a good fit. Made no sense. So number 4, Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay, let's go with my number 3 team. They are winless so far, but they're better than 2 other teams in the National Football League as far as I am concerned. I think a lot of the Jets, like you do the Raiders, and I won't agree with you on the Raiders. I'll torch them here in a few moments. But I put the New York Jets here at the 3rd worst, mainly not because of the players, but I do still think there's some continuity in their coaching, and I can see some flashes of some things. And I just think the other 2 teams, not only have they don't have the right players, but they don't have the right coaches, and they don't have the right chemistry, and it's just awful. So almost by default, the Jets are the 3rd worst team and not the 2nd or the last.
Yeah, our top 5, same teams, but definitely different order. More on them and more of them later. Let's talk about number 3, the Miami Dolphins. I have as a 3rd worst team. What can I say? They have some good offensive players. They have Jalen Waddle. Tyreek Hill's out for the year, obviously. They had Devon Achane, one of the most underrated running backs in the NFL. Darren Waller was a good tight end pickup. But I think that's about it. I mean, what else can I say? They have no offensive line. The defense might break records for being bad. Mike McDaniel's not a leader. He's a goofy nerd. It's like a dweeb you pick on in middle school. It's just a disaster. Greer, their GM, has done nothing for 9 years, like absolutely nothing. 1 playoff win, maybe none. I don't know. I should look that up, but it's a total disaster. No one's going to survive. Tua throws interceptions left and right, and Dolphins. The reason they're not lower than this is they did beat one of the teams I have higher, so I'll say Dolphins 3rd worst.
All right, so I put these last 2 teams where they are, again, not necessarily because of the players, but because of the entire organization. The Dolphins are like throwing each other under the bus and then backing that bus up and running each other over. I mean, what Mike McDaniel said behind the podium about Tua, and then Tua comes out and says, "Oh, we had a team meeting, but I wasn't involved." And I mean, this franchise is just a mess. And you said it perfectly. Mike McDaniel is not a leader. I mean, Mike McDaniel gets behind the podium and looks like he's on the TISM scale, for God's sake. I mean,
and throw intercept and
yeah, just not a good look whatsoever. But I will say this: I would love to get Mike McDaniel to the Cincinnati Bengals and take the offensive play calls away from our head coach and give those to Mike McDaniel, because I think he is a really good offensive mind. I just think he's overwhelmed being the head coach of this team, and it's really starting to show. The team's really starting to fray apart, and it's just going to get worse. It's going to become a train wreck, and we're just going to sit back and point and watch that thing burn to the ground.
Some really good coordinators are just not leaders. Josh McDaniel is a good example. He used to coach the Broncos and Raiders. Great offensive coordinator for the Patriots. He's back there now. Terrible leader. The players didn't respect him. Very different reason for Mike McDaniel, but they're not leaders. They're not head coaches. But you're right. He's a very good offensive coach. He got the most out of Tua a couple years ago you could possibly get, because Tua's not very good. He actually had Tua playing decent, which is really hard to do. But now their offensive line, Tyreek Hill's out, so he's not playing well. They don't have the personnel going downhill, but yeah, I get it.
Bradley Chubb will get traded here in the next couple of weeks.
Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips is another one to watch out, the other pass rusher. There's a lot of Minka Fitzpatrick. I would shop him as well if I were them. Number 2, I had the New York Football Jets. So you mentioned them. I'll just a little add to it. I disagree with you a little on them. I don't think Aaron Glenn's done a good job. I thought that was a good hire. I thought he'd take a talented defense. I don't think it's a great defense, but it's a pretty talented defense. I thought they'd be good, and they've been really bad. And I don't know. It just feels like they find ways to lose games. Like they're not into games. And that surprises me more than anything because this guy is, you watch him on the sidelines when he was the Lions defense coordinator. He was always like, just seemed like he was motivating. And there were some game plans after the Lions had these injuries down the stretch where they're like perfect. Like his game plans were outstanding. And I watched a lot of Lions games and I'm like, this guy's just really good coach. So just surprises me. So yeah, number 2, New York Jets.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it here real quick. Let me see if I can find it in the next 10 or 15 seconds. Yeah.
But the Jets, they don't have a good owner. They don't have a good GM.
No, that's what I'm getting ready to do right now is give you the quote that the owner said earlier today. So the owner's name's Woody Johnson. Here's his quote. "It's hard when you have a quarterback with the rating that we got. If you look at any head coach with a quarterback like that, you're going to see similar results. If we can just complete a pass, that would be great."
Did he mean Madden rating? Because there's a rumor that he didn't trade for a player because of a Madden rating. He was too low. Like a Madden video game. That was one of the first videos into my channel. I think the first video I talked about it on my channel back in January. I'm not joking.
I may have to go back and look at that.
The very first video, I think Jerry Jeudy was the player who was traded from Denver to the Browns, and the Jets were going to trade for him, and he nixed it because his Madden rating was like 73, and he thought it should be at least 78. I'm not joking.
Was that the one where it was like his son or his grandson or something got involved in it and all that? Was that right?
Rick Johnson, 17-year-old grandson, making personnel decisions. When you have a bad owner, they hire bad leadership, bad front office people, they hire bad head coaches. It's a trickle-down thing.
Yeah,
like Jacksonville Jaguars haven't been good for a while. They have a terrible owner too. Same thing with the Carolina Panthers. When you have bad ownership, it trickles down.
Yes. Okay, so my worst team in the NFL is going to be different than yours, but first, let me go over all of the teams from start to finish here. I started off with the Arizona Cardinals, the Minnesota Vikings, the New York Football Giants, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cleveland Browns, the New Orleans Saints, the Tennessee Titans. Then I went to the New York Jets, Miami Dolphins, and the train wreck that is the Raiders in Vegas. Talk about a team that is completely out of touch. You said it. They've got some great players over there, but they don't know how to use these guys. 3 first downs in a game. I don't know. I think I could put anybody out there and they can get 3 first downs in a game.
Yep.
This is what we talked about earlier when we were talking about Gesicki with the Indiana Hoosiers, and I was afraid that as he gets older, he gets out of touch with his people. I think Pete Carroll's just out of touch. Why you would hire Pete Carroll, why you would allow him to make personnel decisions, like maybe bringing in the worst quarterback and paying him a ton of money, and he throws for 65 yards in this past game. You've got a great running back, and he got 38 yards. 38 yards. That means you are not coaching him right. That means you didn't pick personnel in front of him right. I know they've got Max Crosby, and they might trade him. I keep seeing rumors all over the place that the Dallas Cowboys are chasing him. I don't know if that's really true or not.
Why didn't you keep Micah Parsons?
Right? That's kind of dumb. I mean, I could really see it if you had Parsons. Man, you put Parsons on one side and Max Crosby on the other side. Just pin everybody's ears back and let's go.
No offense to Crosby, he's a very good player, but he's not as good as Micah Parsons. So what if you have to give up the same thing that they got? Like you mentioned, the Raiders. I think a lot of people making decisions is Tom Brady, and I think he's terrible at it. I think Tom Brady is making these decisions. Do you know they gave Geno Smith a 2-year, $75 million extension, 66 guaranteed? So he's not going anywhere. No. He might be the backup, but you gave him that based on 2, above average years in Seattle. He wasn't great. He wasn't bad. No, he was above average. But you traded a 3rd-round pick for a 34-year-old quarterback that had never been good till he was 32, and then gave him $66 million guaranteed. I like the Ashton Genty pick, and the year before, and they drafted Brock Bowers and Jackson Powers Johnson to play center. Those were good picks. They have some pieces, but my God, they suck.
They don't know how to use the pieces. That's why I put them at the bottom.
They're a joke. Watching them is exhausting. You know, I don't know what happened week 1. If they played New England at New England right now, they'd lose by 3 touchdowns at least. Yeah. That's the only thing. I don't know what happened week 1, but New England had a lot of new pieces, a lot of new players. They flipped their whole roster.
I think it's more New England lost the game than the Raiders won the game.
I agree. So my number 10. My number 10 was the Bears. My number 1 is the Bears. I'm switching it. No, I'm just kidding. Number 10 is the Bears. Number 9 is the Texans. 8 Jaguars. 7 Giants. 6 Browns. Your team. 5 Saints. 4 Raiders. 3 Dolphins. 2 Jets. And you had them, I believe, 4? Which surprised me a little. But my number 1 is the Tennessee Titans. I just see an absolute disaster. They have covered 3 spreads in the last 2 years. Let me repeat that. Vegas, you should cover half the spreads. They figure it out half. They've covered 3 spreads in 2 years. And one of them was given to them by the Cardinals. Maybe that's why you didn't have them number 1. But but the Tennessee Titans, to me, they don't do anything well. They don't do anything well. It's hard. They're hard to watch, and they're exhausting to watch. So they need to trade back, and I hope they pick first. To be honest with you, they don't need a quarterback, and that pick will be valuable. They can trade back. They need half the guys on the roster shouldn't be in the NFL. That's how bad I think it is.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're towards the end of the show.
Yeah.
And we're not even going to get to the 3-hour mark this time. We shortened it down a little bit. So let's give you a little bit of a preview of what's coming up this week. Cheese. I can't wait to see your new show. It's going to be, I don't want to trash it like your shows weren't good beforehand, but I think when we add some of the things that we're going to add with you, come on now. The upgrade is going to be phenomenal.
It's going to be fun. Look out for those. That's why I haven't made a video in 2 days. It's weird. Everyone's like, why aren't you making videos? Yeah. But yeah, that's coming later this week. So look out for those.
All right. And then, of course, next week, we're going to give our mid-season football awards. I think that'll be really fun. We'll compare them to our preseason football awards that we did, in the preseason. So we'll talk about the World Series. We're going to start doing some team-by-team things in Major League Baseball. And, of course, as people get knocked off in college football, I can't wait to start talking about the top 12. Who it's going to be. We'll start making bold predictions. Man, it's really going to get fun here on the Lights Out Sports Podcast. There's so much stuff going on. I don't think we can keep it under 3 hours next time, but we will try. Here's one last thing that I want to tell you, then I'm going to turn everything over to Cheese and let him say goodbye to you guys. But this week, we're going to split this show up. We're going to do a Major League Baseball show tomorrow, what we just did, but just the Major League Baseball portion of it, so it's shorter for you guys to listen to. Then on Thursday, because there's a Thursday night football game, we're going to do the NFL version of the show, put it back out on Thursday, but just the NFL. And then on Friday, because Friday always has a college football game, we'll release the Friday on the college football. And then, if that's not good enough for you, Saturday is going to come rolling around, and we're going to combine the beginning of the show and the end of the show. We're going to do the 5 Flamin' 5 and 5 and our Lights Out list. We're going to smash those together, and I can't wait to bring you all of that great content right here on the Lights Out Sports Podcast. Cheese, what you want to add to the end of the show, buddy?
Just that we're taking this show and splitting it up and publishing it. It's not like we're doing all these shows every day. I just want to make sure people know. Because, my friends will be like, hey, I thought you were making a show every day. My friends will think that. But
we talked about your friends off the air. We're not, we don't want to make too much fun of them, but we talked about them earlier.
But you make a good point. I think the college football playoff, I think last year they got lucky a little bit. It wasn't that controversial, the 12 teams. I think this year it's going to be insanely controversial. So we'll talk about that next week.
All right, sounds good. And One last thing. She's told me earlier off the air, I need to bring the hat back.
Yes.
Maybe we'll bring the hat back next week. We'll see what happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't make a promise if you can't keep it.
Well, I didn't. I mean, it's right here. I've got it. It's right there.
Where's the
I
battery?
gotta take it apart and put the batteries in it because it just, you hit it like this, or where is that little button? There's a little button right here.
People keep bringing it up. They're like, "Where's the hat?" It's been a while. It's been months.
It's been a while. I'm hitting the button right now and it won't come on because I don't know, the battery's dead in it. There's something wrong. I gotta take it to my buddies at work and see if they can fix it for me, and we'll bring the hat back. So.
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys very much for being with us. Once again, we had numbers 2 and 3 on the Twitter tonight. So thank you for that. We got the most views right now as we're starting to close the show out.
It's top 10. People love the top 10.
People love the top 10. I don't know if it's good or if it's bad that they come out at the end of the show. I don't know. But
they like my number 10 pick of the Bears.
They probably do. All right, guys. Thank you all very much for being with us. We appreciate you. Remember to check us out here, Lights Out Sports Podcast. Remember to go to Cheese's channel. What is that again, buddy?
At Football with Cheese, Cheese. Check me out. I will release, well, we'll see. I don't know how many videos a week. We'll see with the new format. You never know.
All right. I love this new format. I think you guys will too. Thank you all very much for being with us. We appreciate it. And as always, as we bid you adieu, we tell you that the only thing that's fair in life is a baseball hit between the third and first base lines. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all very much for staying with us.